Okay, we're already live now.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't remember which is CNN. What channel is CNN?
Do you have AT&T?
Yeah.
1202.
No, it's not AT&T. It's Comcast.
Oh, I don't know then. I don't have. I had it. I can't stand Comcast. It's horrible.
Just say CNN into the remote.
Right. Good. CNN. Hey everyone, I'm setting up right now. Please be patient with me.
Michelle Snyder.
Okay, now it's not changing. The channel CNN. All right, looks like I got it. Hey everyone, we're live right now.
And we remind our audience here in
I'm still getting things together because I'm working on something at home that just kind of ran late.
and each other. All right, let's begin. Since the last debate, House Democrats
But it looks like you are live in my living room.
against President Trump, which all the candidates on
So
the
hey,
stage
everyone.
support. Senator Warren, I want to start with you.
Oh, did you
You
need
said that
anything?
there's already enough
I'll let you know when I need you.
evidence for President
Okay.
Trump to be impeached and for office. But the question is, with the election only 1 year away, why
I've never
should
seen anybody do this on me.
You get to see it live as it's going on. And now we're gonna have the chat.
Have you ever heard that song?
Impeachment inquiry. When I made
Have
the
you ever heard of
decision to
ABBA?
run for president, I certainly didn't think it was going to be about impeachment.
Google ABBA
But when
one
the
day. This was
Mueller
like
report came out,
in the 70s.
I read it.
Well,
So everybody wanted to live stream today, and
I saw
today
that. Look,
that
they're gonna be focusing more on the impeachment
that this
and what they would do after that. Not okay, you're not gonna be singing. It doesn't matter.
So at that moment, I called for opening an impeachment inquiry. Now,
I'm doing
that
good,
didn't
Jackie.
happen, and look what happened as a result. Donald Trump broke the law again in the summer, broke it again this fall. You know, we took a constitutional oath, and that is that no one is above the law, and that includes the President of the United States.
With the election 1 year away, why shouldn't voters decide Trump's fate instead of pursuing
This
impeachment?
man will not be permitted to break the law over and over.
I haven't been on here because I've been doing a lot of school,
Understand, it's about the next.
and I'm trying to catch up to things, so I will be on here more
And the
often.
future of this country. The
Hey, what's that
impeachment must go
in?
forward.
Thank you, Senator Warren. You're all going to get in on this, by the way. Senator Sanders, do Democrats have any choice but to impeach President Trump? Please
No, we
respond.
don't. In my judgment, Trump is the most corrupt president in the history of this country. It's not just that he obstructed justice, but the Mueller report. I think that the House will find him worthy of impeachment because of the.
Now, if I move a little bit, you guys, don't mind me.
Himself while using.
I'm getting settled in. I'm running a little late, but we'll get there.
And I think in terms of the recent Ukrainian.
And plus, I think people are still
The
coming on.
idea that we have a
I'm gonna go
president
install this in your bathroom.
Okay.
So this is to make your toilet more energy efficient.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna make it so the water fills up the bowl and the tank at the same time. I'm gonna put this bag inside the tank and it's gonna displace probably like 2 gallons of water.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And keep the process of the has got to do the right thing and allow a free and fair trial in the Senate.
Vice President Biden, during the Clinton impeachment proceedings, you said, and I quote, "The American people don't think that they've made a mistake by electing Bill Clinton, and we in Congress had better be very careful."
What's that?
before we
Typical
upset their
cheeseburger says
decision.
no
With
for
the
no
country
reason.
now split, have Democrats been careful enough in pursuing the impeachment?
Please
of
stop
President
what?
Yes,
What
they
do you
have.
want
I've
to
said
stop?
from the beginning that if in fact Trump continued to stonewall what the Congress is entitled to know about his
So just so you all know, there's been several people that asked to do another debate chat.
They have no choice. No choice. but
Oh,
to begin
typical,
the
you're probably
proceedings
talking
with
about
them.
this?
More
Well,
power
you don't have to
to
be in here if this is a
This
problem.
president, and I
We have
concur,
students from our
Senator
college
Sanders
coming
is the
on.
most
We
corrupt
are
president in modern history, and I think
trying to
all of
encourage
our
people to
history.
vote and
And
be
the fact is that
involved in
this president
this.
of the United
So
States has gone so far as to say, since this latest event, that in fact he will not cooperate in any way at all will not list any witnesses, will not
So
provide information,
typical's
will not be anything to cooperate with the
typical's
They have no
response
choice
is
but to move.
getting
Senator Harris,
censored by
asking for Nancy
YouTube,
Pelosi
but
that
Trump
members
is
of Congress
an
have to be, in her words,
yeah, we have to
fair
keep
to
the words
president,
clean, but Trump
given
is
a chance to
definitely
exonerate
something
himself.
else.
However,
I
he
agree
said
with
that
you on that
based
one.
on everything you've seen, you would vote to remove him
Yes,
from office.
we do
Is
have to
that
have
being
respectful
fair to the
dialogue.
president?
I think typical is just saying that,
because
you know,
has
the whole
committed
discussion
crimes
of
in plain
impeachment and
sight. I
everything.
mean, it's shocking, but he told us who he was. Maya
so-
Angelou told us years ago. Listen to somebody when they tell you who they are the first time.
Is anybody
During that
excited about
election,
any of
Donald
these
Trump
candidates
told us
though?
he could shoot somebody on
I'm
Fifth
kind of
Avenue
having a
and
hard
get
time being like,
and he
this
has
is the one for me,
consistently,
you know?
since he won, been selling out the American people. He's been selling out working people. He's been selling out our values.
It's okay,
He's
typical.
been selling out national security. And on
By the
this
way, I
issue
like
with Ukraine,
cheeseburgers.
he's been selling out our democracy. Our framers imagined this moment, a moment where we would have a corrupt
I want to know what they
president.
would do
And our framers
if they were
then
president
rightly
to
designed our system of democracy to
deal
say
with
there
all
will
the
be
things that
checks
Trump
and
has been
balances.
doing.
This
Because
is
there's a
not
lot
those
of,
moments. And so
he's pretty much
Congress
been
must ask.
dismantling the whole government
The
system.
reality of it is that I don't really think this
And-
impeachment process is going to take very long. Because as a former prosecutor, I know a confession when I see it.
So,
And he did it in plain sight. He has given us the evidence, and he tried to cover it up, putting it in that special server. And there's been a clear consciousness of guilt. This will not take very long. Donald Trump needs to be held accountable. He is indeed the most
well,
corrupt.
somebody who has Trump as a vote, oh my gosh.
Senator Booker, you have said that President
no.
Trump's quote,
I'm not
vandalism
voting for
disqualifies
corruption.
him
It's
from
just
being
absolute
president. Can
corruption.
you be fair
And to be fair, he's not the only one. He's just playing along with the system as it's been made. Right?
We are talking about ongoing proceedings to remove a sitting president for office. This
You
has
wouldn't
got to
waste
be
your time
about
watching these.
patriotism and
Um,
not partisanship. Look, I share the
well,
sense
Ed,
of
what do you
urgency
think?
of
Do you think that
everybody
anybody
on this
is,
stage.
they're all just
I
not
understand the
authentic
outrage that we
with
all
what they're
feel,
saying? Do you
but
think
we
that
have
there's
to
like a
conduct
machine that
this
just keeps on
process
going
in a way
within
that
the
is
Democratic
honorable,
Party and the
brings our
Republican
country
Party,
together,
and they're
doesn't
not
rip
really
us apart. Anybody who has
as
criticisms
interested
about the
in
process that
the
is
citizens
making
and,
all the facts bare
also
for
just
the
pretty much
American
everybody
public,
that's
that works to build consensus. That's what
here.
this nation needs in what is a moral moment and not a political one. So I swore an oath to do my job as a senator, do my duty. This president has violated his, I will do mine.
Ed is definitely not feeling politics tonight. He thinks all politicians are liars. Hold on, I got somebody, a really very nice gentleman helping me with my PG&E bill.
Thank you. This is your emergency preparedness kit for the outages, what you can expect, different resources for being prepared, what you should, your checklist of what you should do, and your emergency kit with your bag, which you should have. This is an employment opportunity. If you know people that want to learn to do what I do for a living, we are commission only, but we average between 90 and 150,000 a year.
Wow. When he made that call to the head of
If you're good at talking to people,
he's digging
you
out
hire for this all the
on an
time.
opponent. That's illegal conduct. That's what he was doing. He didn't
These
talk
are
to
your
him about
must-haves.
corruption and
This is what
invasion.
we
He
offer.
talked
This
to
is
him
what we
about
do.
that. So I'm still waiting to find out
This
from
is the
him
history of the contractor I work for in
making
PG&E.
that call to the head of
This is your
Ukraine
blank waiver, you
and
get 2 of
trying to
these.
get him involved in
I have a
interfering
signed
in our
release from the
election
owners.
makes America great
This is
again.
the document that
I'd like
states
to
that
hear
I don't
from
make any
him
promises.
about how leaving the
You
Kurds
understand
for
that, that's
slaughter,
what we next with it.
our allies for slaughter,
And this is
where
stuff that's
Russia
not
then
happening here.
stepped in to protect them, how that
This
makes
talks about the care
America
program,
great again.
the program I'm
And
here
I would
for,
like to
energy
hear
saving
from him
tips.
about how
Your scheduled date is going to be,
Vladimir Putin makes America
November
great again.
1st,
It doesn't make America
sometime
great
between
again.
9 a.m. and 1
It
p.m. A
makes
gentleman
Russia
like me will show up
great
at your
again.
door,
And
and he's gonna come in and just, he's gonna look like I did, but he's gonna determine what's gonna be input, and he's gonna start doing the work. Because that is not working, they may not be able to do any infiltration measures, but we'll see what we can do about that.
Okay.
Not at all. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, and all of us are out there every single day
Go ahead.
talking about what we're going to do to make sure that more people cross the graduation
I'm
stage.
almost
that
done.
more
I'll be
families
back
have great health
on
care,
here just a
that more
second.
folks are put to work in places like Ohio, where Donald Trump has broken his promises because Ohio.
What do you say to
Michigan,
those who fear
Pennsylvania,
impeachment as a
actually, in the
distraction
latest
that could
jobs act,
backfire on
have lost
Democrats? That's
jobs,
what they're
not
worried
gained them.
about?
So that what we have to recognize is that not only did the Mueller report point out 10
Popcorn
different
fattening.
instances
Let's see, what are
where
they
the president
saying?
obstructed justice or tried to, and he made a
Okay,
call
so it
to
says when you are phony,
President
it's hard to
Zelensky of
keep facts
Ukraine,
straight. Keep the
that
moving.
he's
Educate this
ongoingly,
one
in an
is a phony
ongoing way,
baloney actor's
violating his
puppets.
oath of office and abusing his power.
It's a, what do they call it?
After
Politician
impeaching this
speak,
president, and the majority of Americans not only
or
support impeachment,
Political
they
BS.
support
political
him.
BS. There you go.
Mayor Buttigieg, you have
you
said
know,
that impeachment should be
spin-
bipartisan. There's
Spin is
been
another
obviously
one that a
very
lot of
little
people do.
Republican support to
They have
date,
like
yet
people in
Democrats are
PR and
proceeding.
specialists that
That
teach them
understand?
how to speak so
Well,
that
it's
they
a
don't
mistake
actually
on the
have to
part
give
of
you
Republicans
the
to
direct
label a
answers that
president
you
whose
want.
actions are as offensive to their own supposed values as they are to the values that we all share. Look, the president has left the Congress with no choice. And this is not just about holding the president
And just letting you know, I
not
can't
just the things emerging in these
approve
investigations, but actions that he has
messages
confessed
that
to
have
on television.
like
It's also
kind of,
about the presidency itself, because a
you know,
president
the
10
language
years
that YouTube
or
doesn't
100
like. You
years
know.
from now, will look back at this
What's
moment
up, typical
and
cheeseburger?
draw the conclusion either
Pour
that
me
no
a
one is
drink.
above the
Yeah,
law,
we could use a drink.
or that a president can get away with anything.
Girl versus boy.
Everyone
Hey,
on this stage,
how you
by
doing?
definition, is competing to be a president for after the Trump presidency. Remember, one way or the other, this presidency is going to come to an end. I want you to picture what it's going to be like, what it's actually going to feel like in this country, the first day the sun comes up after Donald Trump has been president. It starts out feeling like a happy thought. This particular brand
Wow,
of chaos
some of you have some
and
really
corruption
interesting
will be
names,
over
let me
with.
tell you.
Really think about where we'll be.
Y'all got me laughing right now.
Even more torn apart by
Do
politics.
you all see these names?
And these big issues, from the economy to
YouTube
climate change,
can't censor
and
you
not
for
taking a
anything.
vacation during the impeachment process. I'm running to be the president who can turn the page and unify
These
a
are-
dangerously polarized country while tackling those issues
Thank
that
you.
are going to be just as urgent then as they are now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So do-
Congressman Gabbard, you're the only sitting House member.
Yeah,
on this
exactly.
stage.
Well, look at your name.
If impeachment is driven by these hyper-partisan interests, it will only further divide an already terribly divided country. Unfortunately, this is what we've already seen
America.
play out as calls for
You want me to
impeachment
say
really
it?
began
America.
shortly after Trump won his election. And
Yee
as
yee.
unhappy as that may make us as Democrats, he won that election in 2016. Serious issues have
11?
been raised around this
You're 11 years
phone
old?
call that he had with the
That's
president
probably
of
even more
Ukraine
reason
and
why
many
we
other
got,
things that transpired around that are what caused me to support the inquiry in the House. And I think that it should continue to play its course out, to gather all the information,
Mike,
provide
I
that
cannot
to the
PM
American
you right
people,
now.
Recognizing that
Now
that
you're
is
10.
the only
Okay,
way
so we got
forward.
10 and 11
If the
year
House
olds on here.
votes to impeach, the
Is that good
Senate
or bad?
does not vote to remove Donald Trump.
It's-
He walks out
I don't think
and he
it's bad.
feels exonerated, further deepening
Gotta
the
get him
divides
young.
in this
Yeah.
country that we
As long
cannot
as, I mean,
afford.
for me,
Thank
I'm
you,
not doing
Congresswoman.
anything.
Mr. Sauer, you've been
to
calling
them.
for impeachment for 2 years. Does there
I've
need to
raised
be
kids.
bipartisan support?
Well, Anderson,
And
this
a
is
damn
my
good
first
job of
time
that.
on this stage,
Thank
so
you.
I just want to start by reminding everybody that
I don't
every
actually
candidate
usually watch
here
CNN.
is more decent, more coherent, and more patriotic than the
I wouldn't
criminal
say it's
in
the
White
worst,
House.
but sometimes,
Well, all they're doing is they're just
But I also want to
moderating
point
it.
out
yeah, they're moderating it
Anderson's
with
right.
the New York Times
I stopped the
journalist.
need to impeach movement.
Well,
because
most
I knew
journalism
there
is
was
liberal
something
anyway, so.
desperately wrong at
It's-
1600
I mean, it's
Pennsylvania
either
Avenue.
liberal or conservative, but it's, I mean, no matter what, as a journalist,
And then only the
we're
voice.
talking about how there is no,
there are no winners in politics.
Yeah,
To
and
see
it's
it as a
not,
matter of right and wrong,
to say
not
that there is no
political
bias
expedience.
is a lie.
So in
Everybody
fact,
has bias.
Oh my gosh, everybody. Just like everybody's prejudiced
Yeah.
on some level.
And people are demanding.
It's all, it's
they want
all,
the voice
it's all
that counts, and
perception.
that's who I went
Okay,
to.
we're set.
The
You don't have to
Okay.
get up.
Mr.
Okay.
May, do you think
This is
there's
your
already
folder. This is your date, date, and time. That's our office number on the
I support impeachment,
Right here?
but we
Yeah.
shouldn't have any
Okay.
illusions that impeaching Donald Trump.
Up here, I put a little sticker with your date, date, and time. There's our office number as well. If you need to reschedule, please call us 24 to 48 hours ahead of time. And at the recording, when you call, just push number 2. That's what the 2 is there for. Any questions?
No, that's it, you're great.
Michelle, you're awesome. Well, I love you guys even more because you're big cat people. All right. What's your site?
It's, you can find it, if you hashtag, backslash Classgate Designs is my YouTube. Yeah, you could write it, or I could write
He's
it.
the problem
I
that
just
got
put in my-
Donald Trump elected, the fourth industrial revolution. And that is
Because
what
you know my name now. It actually, my name goes under Michelle Dion
The
Snyder.
fact is, Donald Trump, when we're talking about him, we are losing. We need to present
Oh, we have a-
vision, and that he
Andrew
keeps talking
Yang.
about impeaching Donald Trump.
Fan,
Congressman O'Rourke, on impeachment, please respond.
Gorbachev, that's a different one.
Everyone who's ever served this country.
Okay, what am I looking for?
We have 2 examples here on the stage tonight, Mayor
Here.
Buttigieg and
You
Congresswoman
better,
Gibb. those who have
Probably
willingly
see it under my name
sacrificed
better.
their lives to defend this country and our
There it
Constitution.
is.
We are
Oops.
the inheritors of
There.
their
That's
service
the one.
and their
You
sacrifice.
can even see the live right
and we
now
have a
going.
responsibility.
So I just subscribe?
Yeah, you can just subscribe.
Do I have to be a member of this to do this?
And his lawlessness.
I
The fact
think
that as a
so.
candidate
If you're
for the
on
highest
YouTube,
office in the land, he
you
invited
just
the
can subscribe,
participation,
just like
invasion
that.
of a foreign
Cool.
power in our democracy.
Yeah.
As
So you
president,
can even see
he
I
lied
just
to
did a
investigators,
video.
obstructed
See, there's
justice,
that video.
fired James
Oh, you're the one that did
FBI
that, huh?
tried to
Yeah.
fire
See, look how many
Mueller,
views that
head of the
is.
investigation.
And then there's
Oh my
a follow-up video.
Wow, you have been getting quite a few.
Yeah. And then I did a recently. This is a artistic one. I did this at Tobacco Lane,
If we do not hold him to
where
account,
it's
if there is not
actually
justice, not only have we
oops,
failed this
there's like
moment,
a-
our Constitution and our country, we have
always an
failed
ad, as you
everyone
can
with
see. I told you
what
I
sacrifice
was
and
doing.
labor.
But it's actually, if you listen to this and the whole thing is written down here, this it's pretty much like a poem.
Mhm.
I don't know where it is. It's in the description. But it's kind of like dedicated to my daughters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
While serving on a company board in
Oh, I'm gonna
Ukraine.
read that. That looks very awesome.
There's no evidence of
Oh, you're doing a great job, young lady.
Thank you.
Having said that, on Sunday,
It's been a pleasure. It's been neat to watch. I've never seen this, so it's
Yeah, you
always.
see it in progress right
And I
now.
have one of the most famous photographers in Oakland now.
It was great meeting you.
It's been a pleasure. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at any time.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. You'll see me because I'm gonna be in the building next week.
Look,
Okay.
All right?
I'll see you around.
my son did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
Uh
I carried out the policy
oh.
of the United States government.
My best friend is in
Rooting out
there.
corruption
She's
in-
moderating. Thank
in
you, Raina.
Ukraine. And then that's what we should be focusing on. And what I wanted to make a point about, and my son
Uh-oh.
speaks for
Yes,
himself.
I know what that noise is.
Yeah, he gets a
My
little
son
freaked out when
said
he's in that
speaks for
space
himself.
at the
What
door.
I think
Well,
is
plus I think that
important is we
overexcited.
focus on
Yeah.
why it's so important to move this man forward.
Have a
On the 17th, the fact that George Washington worried on the first time he spoke after being elected president,
Back.
that what we had to worry
All right, all of
about
that is done.
foreign interference in our elections. It was
Let's
the
get this
greatest threat to
down.
America.
Thank you,
This president,
Baby
on
Gia, for
three
always having my
occasions,
back. Like
three
seriously,
has
I'm
invited
PG&E
foreign governments and heads of
came and
government
they're
to
trying to
get
help
and trying to alter our elections.
fix some certain
The
things in my
fact
house
is
to
that it
lower
is
the bill.
outrageous. Rudy Giuliani
And that took over an
the
hour.
president and his thugs have already proven
So
that
let me
they, in
see,
fact,
where-
are flat lying. What we have to do now is focus on Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't know what I
He doesn't
missed,
want me to be
but
the candidate.
Baby Gia got
He's
everything
going
set
after
up.
me because he knows if I get the nomination, I will beat
I'm not
him
really
like a
surprised
drum.
that we would have some Trump supporters in here pushing for Trump, but you know what? That's all good. Difference of opinions is all good for me.
He made a mistake and showed poor judgment by serving on the
Trump is your god. Is that your daddy
You made a
too?
mistake by letting him. You were the point person on Ukraine at the
Still no
time.
evidence that he committed crime? Well,
My son's statement speaks
they
for
haven't shown
itself.
it yet.
I did my job. I never discussed a single
I-
thing with my son about anything having to do with
I'm not-
Ukraine. No one has indicated I have. We've always kept everything separate. Even when my son was the Attorney General of the state of
I'm
Delaware.
not a big fan of
we never
Biden, but
discussed
I'll
it.
still
So
take
there's
Biden
no
over Trump just
potential
because
conflict. My son made a judgment.
I'm worried
I'm
about
proud of the
stuff like
judgment he
what's
made.
going on with
I'm
Syria.
proud of what he had
If
to
we
say.
get into a
And
serious
let's
war, I
focus
don't know
on
what
this.
y'all are gonna
The
do. You
fact
think
of the
these
matter
jokes
is
are gonna be
that
keeping us
this
going?
is about
When
Trump's
if we have
corruption.
terrorism, how
That's
many
what
of
we
you
should
have
focus
lived
on.
through
So
the 9/11 in
you're
2001
that
when we
it
had
is
that
absolutely
terrorist attack?
proper to Go forward with impeachment. I hope that he is impeached. But I think what would be a disaster if the
Sorry,
American
Barbara.
people believe that all we were doing is taking on Trump. And we're
I don't
forgetting that
respect
87
anything that has to do with
million
racism
Americans
either.
are uninsured or underinsured.
I agree with you
We're
on that.
forgetting about the existential threat of climate change. We are forgetting about the fact
Right now,
that half of our people are
this is
living
all
paycheck to
Democrats.
paycheck. So what we
Now,
have got
what
to
you
do
all might not
is
know
end
is
this
there's
corruption.
3
Set a precedent
candidates
for future
running
history
against Trump
that
in
says
the
presidents
Republican
like
Party,
this
and
cannot behave
the
this way.
RNC will
But we
refuses
cannot
to
and
let them
must not
debate.
turn our backs
From what I've
on
heard.
the pain of the working
Because
class
one of them
this
came on
country.
TV and was saying that they're keeping them silent and not allowing competition against Trump.
You've proposed some sweeping plans, free public college. Thank you. Senator Warren,
to move on.
Senator Warren, you've proposed some sweeping plans.
So, Devin, you're saying that cheeseburgers should reject the Democratic Party because of racism, and you think the Republican Party is better?
But you have not specified how you're going to pay.
I mean, please, if you supported Trump and you were okay with how he dealt with Charlottesville,
Taxes on the middle
Stop.
class
You just, you,
to pay for it.
you
Yes
can't
or
even
no?
say anything about racism.
I
Don't even talk
clear
about it,
what
because
my
I know that you
principles
have no
are
idea what it is
and
like
that
to deal with
costs
it.
will go up for the wealthy and for big corporations, and for hardworking middle-class families, costs
I'm
will
wondering
go
where some
down.
of our students are.
You know, the way I see this is I have been out all around this
You're
country.
11,
I've
you
done
have
140 town halls now, been to 27
7 years
states
until
in
you can
Puerto
vote.
Rico. Should have done 70,000 selfies, which must be the new measure of
That means that
democracy.
if we get a new
And
president,
this
it's
gives
probably
people a
going to be
chance to
through
come up
that
and
2
talk to me
terms.
directly. So I've talked with the family, the mom and dad whose daughter's been diagnosed with cancer. I've
Devin,
talked to the young woman whose
the
mother has
Democratic
just
Party,
been diagnosed
I'm
with
sorry, but you
diabetes.
want to talk
I've
about
talked
the
to a
Democratic
young
Party
man who has MS. And here's
back
the thing about
when
all of them. They'll have
they
great health
abolished
insurance
slavery.
right
That's
at
the Republican
beginning.
Party that
But then they
Lincoln
found out
started,
we really needed it when the
without
bills
talking
went up.
about the
But the
Reconstruction
insurance
era,
company pulled the
without
rug
then
out
talking
from
about
underneath
the
them, and
history
they were left with
of the
nothing.
Civil Rights
But the way I
movement,
see this,
in which the
it's hard enough to get a
Republicans
diagnosis
and
when
the
your child
Democrats
has
largely
cancer.
flipped.
To
And you
think
talk about
the changes in your family
Dixiecrats.
if your mom's got diabetes,
And
but what
during
it
the
means
Civil
for your
Rights
life
movement,
going forward. If
so
you've
many
been
people in
diagnosed with
the
MS,
Dixiecrats were
what you
so
shouldn't have to
enraged
worry
with where
about
the
is how
Democratic
you're
Party
gonna
was
pay
going,
for
they
your
left and went
healthcare
to the
after
Republican
that.
Party.
Senator Warren, to be clear, Senator
And
Sanders
a lot of
acknowledges
African Americans
he's going to raise
started to go
taxes
into
on
the
middle
Democratic
class
Party to take it
to
over.
pay for
And that's the
Medicare
thing
for
about
all.
either of
You've
these parties. No matter what you
endorsed
say,
his plan.
one
Should you
party is not a
acknowledge it too?
monolith.
So,
You know what a
the way I
monolith
see
is?
this
It's not to
about
say that
what
it's
kinds of
one
costs
group of
middle-class
people.
families
Even
are
right
going
now
to
with the
face.
Democratic
So let me
Party,
be clear
there
on
are
this.
people that are
Costs
trying
will
to
go up for the
engage
wealthy.
it,
They
go
will
inside
up
it,
for
they
big
don't agree with it,
corporations
but they're
and for
trying to
middle-class
change it.
families. They
So,
will go down. I will
you know,
not
trying to say
sign
one
a
party is
bill
racist, it's
into
like saying
law
all Republicans
that
are
does
racist
not
just
lower
because
costs
there
for
are
middle-class
racist
families.
Republicans, and that's
Mayor
not true.
Buttigieg, you
I know
say Senator
Republicans
Warren
who
has been, quote,
truly, honestly
evasive
believe what
about how
Republicans
she's
are
gonna
supposed
pay
to
for
believe in,
Medicare for all.
which
What's
is
your response?
a lot more,
yes or no question that didn't get a yes or no answer.
less
But this
government
is why
telling
people
you how to
here in the
live.
Midwest are
And
so
so if the
frustrated
government
with
is
Washington
telling
in
you
general.
that you
And
can't
Capitol Hill in
be,
particular.
you
Your
know,
signature
because your
says
skin
you
is
have a plan
darker,
for
you're not allowed to be in this
Except
neighborhood,
this.
which
No
no
plan has been
doubt,
laid
like
out to
Republicans
explain
and
how a
Democrats were a part of
multi-trillion-dollar hole
either
in
turning
this
their head
Medicare
or
for All
being a
plan
part
that
of
Senator
helping
Warren is
redlining
putting
happen,
forward
right?
is supposed to get filled in. And
Then,
the thing is, we really
you
can
know,
deliver health care for
damn,
every
I just
American
forgot what I was
and
saying.
move forward with the
Both parties
boldest,
have been wrong.
biggest
Let's just say that. Let's just say
transformation
it,
since the
right?
inception of Medicare
In
itself.
politics, both parties have been wrong, but not every single politician in there is wrong, and most of them are probably just trying to get donations and deal with lobbyists, and it's a career. They may have honestly wanted to do something good at first, and then they get steered into the political system as it is, and you have to play the game.
Trusting you to make the right decision.
So, Patrick, Democrats today support modern day slavery. No, they do not.
Senator, your response.
Illegal immigrants are modern day slavery to the elite. Well, Patrick, guess what? A lot of Republicans pay for those immigrants, including Trump.
It's Medicare for all
Most
who can
of the
afford it.
people that he
And
hires
that's the
are
problem we've got. Medicare
immigrants
for all is the gold standard.
without
It's
documentation.
the way we get healthcare coverage.
So,
for every
like I
single
said,
American,
you can't say
including
it's one
family
party or
whose
another.
child
You
is
can
diagnosed
come in
with
here and try and
cancer,
say that, but
including
I'm not
the
going to sit
person
here and
who
deal
just
with it
got an
because
MS
this
diagnosis.
is fallacies
That's
that you're
how we
playing
make
with. You're
sure
trying to
that
come in
everyone
and
gets
disrupt my
healthcare.
whole chat.
We
This is
can
what you
pay for
wanted,
this.
so that you
I've
could
laid
sit
out the
here
basic
and
principles.
make your voice
Costs will
heard
go up.
pro-Trump. I don't even know who you are or where you're coming from, but
They will not
it's the
go up
same
for
thing. And you
middle-class
guys have been doing
families,
it
and I
since
will not sign a
2015,
bill
the
at
same
all
talking
that
points. By
raises
now we
their
know better.
costs, because costs are what people
I will
care
vote
about.
Democrat
I've been studying
over
this,
what the
you know,
Republicans have
for
any
years.
day, because they are not for everybody.
I don't think the
They're
American
not
people are
pushing
wrong
any policies. They're not
when
even
they
going in
say
there
that what they
infiltrating. Like,
want
I would
is a
love to
choice.
see real
And the choice
Republicans,
is Medicare
people that
for all
actually
who
believe
want
the
it, which is
philosophy,
affordable for everyone,
because I
because
believe
we
in
make sure that the
conservative
subsidies are in
values
place.
as far as
Allows
how we
you to
spend our
get that
money
healthcare.
and
It's
and
just
doing better
better
things.
than Medicare
I would love for them
all, whether
to
you want it or
infiltrate
not. And
the
I don't
RNC
understand why you believe
and challenge them. But because they're not being challenged, because they don't have a backbone wrong
is to
with that, and they
obliterate
just want
private plans,
to keep,
kicking
you know,
150 million
approving
Americans off of
the
their
things that they're
insurance
doing because
in 4
a
short
bunch of
years.
people are
When we
afraid of
can achieve that
immigrants
same
that are darker skinned than
and
them,
once again, we have a president
and they're not taking our jobs, let me tell you.
For the day after Trump, our country will be horrifyingly
What's going on,
polarized,
Tony?
even more than now. After everything we've been through, After everything we were about to go through, this country will be even
Oh,
more
thank
divided.
you. Thank you,
Why
Tony.
unnecessarily
I'm glad that I
divide
have
this
you in
country
here.
over healthcare when
I
there's
don't mind the
a
debate and the chatter. Like, this is why I do this, you know? Cheap labor for big business driving down wages for
Let's
Americans.
be clear. Under the Medicare
That's true.
for all bill that I wrote,
That's what
premiums
that's
are
what
gone.
capitalism is all about.
Co-payments
And
are
I'm not
gone.
against capitalism. I'm
Deductibles
just
are
against
gone.
like this
All
total,
out-of-pocket expenses
you know, like if
are
there's a
gone.
difference between
We're
free
gonna do
market
better than the
and
Canadians do, and
just
that is what
massive
they have managed to do.
exploitation that is
At the end of
completely
the
out
day,
of
the
control, which is what we have right now.
people
And let me tell you
will
right now, because
save
of that,
money on
capitalism
their
is
healthcare
dying.
But
And
I
now
do
you have
think
people
it is
coming up
appropriate
wanting
to
all out
acknowledge
communism.
that taxes
So
will
you
go
all
up,
might want to
and
figure
they
that
go
out
up
because it's going to be a battle for it because
significantly
people
for the
want their basic needs.
And for virtually
I mean, look what
everybody,
happened.
the
We had this real nice
taxes they
gentleman
pay
from
will be
PG&E, but
substantially less.
you know, PG&E didn't fix its
Substantially less than
infrastructure,
what
and
were
then they
paying
shut
for
down
premiums and
power
out-of-pocket
for so many
expenses.
Californians,
Senators,
and
Senator
that
Warren,
is like
would
basic
you,
needs. We
acknowledge
need
what the
electricity
senator just said about
and
taxes going up?
gas
So my
to
view
run
on
things
this
these
and
days.
what
We're
I've
not back in the
committed
days when you
is
could just
costs
have a
that
candle
account
and
for hardworking
you know, our
middle-class
lifestyle
families.
is dependent
I
on
will not
electricity
embrace a
now.
plan like
So you
Medicare
have
for all
people,
who can afford
you
it,
know, that one person that
will leave
literally died
behind
because of that,
millions
right?
of
So,
people
you
who
know,
cannot. And I will not embrace a plan that says people have great insurance. Right up until you get the diagnosis and the insurance company says, sorry, we're not
I wouldn't blame immigrants on driving down wages. I would
we're
blame
not covering your expensive
the
treatment.
way that
Senator Klobuchar,
the corporate America has
Bernie's
developed
being honest
itself.
here and
They
saying how he's
don't
gonna
really
pay for
need
this and that taxes are
manufacturing
gonna go
jobs
up.
anymore.
And I'm sorry,
Ha-
Elizabeth, but
All
you
of
have
you
not said that, and I think
Andrew
we owe
Yang
it to the
fans out there
American
know
people
that
to tell them
manufacturing
where
is
we're
dead,
gonna
right?
send the invoice.
Manufacturing is
I
slowly
believe
dying.
the best
Eventually, even the
and
trucking
boldest
industry
idea
is.
here
There's
to
going to be
not
so many
trash
people losing their
Obamacare,
jobs. So what happens
but to
after
do
that?
exactly
We
what
have
Obama wanted to do from the
AI
beginning, and that's have a
taking
covered
over.
option
That's
that would bring down the cost of the premium and expand the number of people covered and take on the pharmaceutical companies.
I'm going blank.
That is what we
Anyways,
should
you're
be
pretty much
doing.
going to have machines
Instead
uh,
of taking
um,
149
taking
million
over
people off
everybody's
their
jobs.
insurance in
And what
4
happens
years.
when that
And I'm tired
happens?
of hearing
What is
whenever
going to
I say
happen?
these things,
You
oh,
know,
it's
we may have
Republican
a
talking
replacement of
points.
other
You are
jobs,
making
but we're living in a
Republican
gig
talking points
economy
right
where
now in this room by coming out
where
for a
these
plan that's gonna do
companies,
that.
regardless
I
of
think
whatever
there is a
these
better
politicians
way
say or
that is
do,
bold, that
or
will cover more
Trump does,
people,
or
and it's
anything,
the one you should
they're
get
going to
behind.
be caring
Senator
about
Warren.
their investors,
I didn't
getting
spend
their
much
bonuses for
time
their
in Washington.
executives,
I
their
spent most
bottom
of my
line.
time
They're going to
studying
do everything to cut
Washington.
wages. It's
And
not
that is why
immigrants that do that. It's the
hardworking
companies that do that.
And
So
one
you're
of the
blaming the
principal
wrong
reasons for
people
that
just because the
is
immigrants
the
come in
cost of
and they
healthcare.
take certain
And back when I
jobs
was
that other people won't even
two out of
take
every 3 families
for
in
really low
Dione
prices. I mean, like, are you
bankruptcy
really going
after
to
a
take those
serious
jobs that they have to work,
had health
you know,
insurance.
extreme
The
circumstances
problem we've
for?
got right now is the overall cost of healthcare.
You know,
And look,
it's not like you see immigrants that have no documentation driving Ubers all over the place, or Lyft, or delivering your food. Who's doing that? That's people, Americans, that are doing that, and they're having to deal with 3 jobs.
Thank you, Senator.
The immigrants who are taking higher paying jobs are people that are educated, and that's part of the flaw of our education system.
I appreciate Elizabeth's work, but again, the
If
difference between
everyone
the
doesn't
plan
have
and
an
the pay
equal
frame
opportunity
is
to
something
education,
that can actually get
we
done.
cannot
And
get
we
good
can get
jobs.
this
You
public
can
option done,
blame
and
that
we
on
can take
immigrants
on
all
the
you want, but these
pharmaceutical
companies are
companies and bring
outsourcing
down the
workers
prices. But what
who
really bothers
have
me about
the
this
ability to
discussion,
pay for
which we've had
education
so many
somewhere else,
times,
so they
is
can
that we
come
don't
here
talk about
and
the
do
things
the
that
job.
I'm
So if you
hearing
want to be
about
mad at that,
regular Americans,
look
that
at the
is
overall
long-term
system
care.
of how it's built. It's really built to favor anybody who is has money from the start, who can afford an education, who has that support system.
Long-term care insurance and strengthen Medicaid. In this state, the state of Ohio, that has been hit by the opioid epidemic, we need to take
Stalking
on those
horse
pharma
says
companies
go
and
to
make
fly
them
over
pay
states white
for
people
the
mow
addiction
lawns.
that they have caused and the people that they have killed.
Thank you, Senator.
I used to mow lawns.
Thank you, Senator.
I don't know.
I'd like to be.
Yeah, you know what, baby Gia, you go do your thing, you know? You see, I'm doing mine. I thank you so much. What's up, Munchie?
Of enacting their plans.
First of all, the plan we're hearing discussed is the Biden plan. The one I put
You
forward.
think that
Building
college
Obamacare
degrees would be
at a
worthless?
public
You
option
think
to
educating people is worthless just because
Here's the deal.
it would be paid
On a
through our
single
tax
most important
dollars.
thing facing the
Our
American
tax
public,
dollars pay
I
for
think
all
it's
kinds of
absolutely
frivolous
important to
things
be
that
straightforward.
our tax dollars
The
pay
plan
for
is gonna
health
cost
care
at least
that is being
$1 trillion over 10 years.
that costs like so many times more than everywhere else just because it's unregulated and the companies can charge whatever they want. That's what I'm talking about when capitalism goes too far.
It will reduce costs.
They don't need to make insulin like $500, do they? No. It costs $7 to make.
Because
Think about that for a second. Who are you blaming? Why are you blaming people and trying to say, oh, let's not educate these people, let's not do this, let's not make things cheaper so we actually save money, let's not give people health care so they go to emergency rooms later on with massive health issues that they could have prevented in the beginning. You don't seem to understand how the system is made. It's made so only certain people profit and the rest of us have to pay all these high prices, and you're making excuses saying, don't educate these people, it'll be worthless. How? How is an education, if it's a good education, if it actually teaches you skills, how in the world is it ever worthless just because somebody else is paying for it?
What reason? They came
Tell me.
down with cancer. I will tell you what the issue is here. The issue is whether the Democratic Party has the
Patrick, centralization of power where?
Which made $100 billion.
You mean a democratic, where the people, all power to the people hold the power? That would be great, but the only way that's going to happen is if the people actually do it. I would rather that than all the rich people have all the power, and they have power over us, and they don't care about us. And I'm not saying all rich people are like that. Trust me. I know that this is a complicated subject, but if they don't care, if they don't care about ripping everybody off, and all they care about is their profit line, and they turn it into a game, that's an issue, because we're all screwed.
That have passed laws that will virtually
Too big to fail.
women from having access to reproductive
Patrick,
health care.
we have
And
a
it is
capitalism.
not an
Capitalism is
exaggeration
ruling
to say
everything.
Women
It's just,
will die.
it's not a good kind of capitalism.
Women of color will die.
Oh my
Because
feet,
these
my lips.
Republican legislatures in these various states that are out of touch with America are telling women what to do with our bodies. Women are the majority of the
The
population
U.S.
in this country.
needs
People
to
need
take
keep
power
their
from
hands
the federal
off of
government
women's
and
bodies
give
let
it to the
women make
states.
decisions about their own lives.
Thank you, Senator.
And let's talk about
Now we're talking about reproductive rights, and I know that can get tricky. So, stalking horse, the USA is the federal government. So you're telling the federal government to give up its power and give it to the states, and the point of the federal government is to bring the states together, because more centralized power like that, as you were saying, it actually does make more power for all of the people, so the resources can be stretched around, including and especially those flyover states, those red states that don't have a lot of money. Guess what? They use the most federal money,
which is collapsing,
especially when a hurricane happens. When a hurricane happens in a state and they need help,
wastewater plants.
you're paying attention, baby gift. Thank you. And when a hurricane happens in Florida, and there's no federal government to help it, what's going to happen? You think Florida's going to be able to pay for that? You think Florida's going to be able to do that? When we have war happening and somebody targets us, do you think the states are each going to collectively be able to handle that war as an overall?
We need workers to do childcare.
No. We do this because you have more power collectively. That's how America became the power that it became in the first place.
We need more carpenters, we need more sheet metal workers.
There is no such thing too big to fail in capitalism.
Tuition free and canceling.
Tell that to the banks in 2008.
The opportunity to get good jobs.
How old are you, Patrick? Do you know what happened in 2008? The banks were too big to fail.
Why is giving people
They got a huge bailout.
$1,000 a month better than Sanders' plan to get guaranteed?
Leftists do not love war. I don't know where you're talking about, Patrick.
Of a federal jobs guarantee, but you have to look at how it would actually materialize in practice.
Most people don't love
What
war.
are the jobs?
I don't really like labeling people because you never know. You could sit here and say there's out of the country 150 on the right and 150 million on the left in this country. You're really going to say one side likes war and one side doesn't. And the Republicans have been the one that took us to the most wars. But hey, you know, although I'm not saying Democrats haven't been running
If
in
we
that
have a
work
credit
stuff.
dividend
Oh
of
man.
$1,000 a month, it actually recognizes the work that is happening in our families and our communities. It helps all Americans transition. Because the fact is, and you know this in Ohio, if you rely upon the federal government to target its
Caples
resources,
is
you wind up
asking
with failed
typical
retraining
cheeseburger
programs
an
in jobs that
11-year-old
no
to
one
vote for
wants.
Trump.
When we put the money
Okay.
in our hands, we can build a trickle-up economy. From our people, our families, and our communities up, it will enable us to do the kind of work that we want to do. This is the sort of positive vision.
Sorry,
in response
typical
to the fourth
cheeseburger.
industrial
You know
revolution
what?
that we
This
have to
shouldn't
embrace as a party.
stress you out, because
Senator Booker, a federal jobs guarantee or $1,000 a month. Are those the
Ah.
best solutions there? Please respond.
that makes sense. I'm sorry that stressed you out. That, you know what? It was an extremely stressful time, and you're right. And that's why this is so important to me. But this is also why politics is so important, because we want to prevent stuff like that from happening.
We are literally using
We shouldn't
Donald Trump's
have
lies,
your
and the second
grandparents
issue we cover
losing
on the stage is
all their
elevating
money,
a lie
their
and
savings.
attacking
Your
the
grandparents
states.
saved all
That
their
was
life,
so
right?
offensive.
They
We
worked
should
hard
not have
for
to
that
defend
money.
ourselves and go.
There's people that lost their houses and everything. It is stressful, and I'm sorry that it's stressful. Especially for an 11-year-old, you shouldn't have to worry about stuff like
And
that.
I'm having deja vu all over again. And I'm having deja vu all over again because we have another healthcare debate. And we're not talking about the clear and existential threat in America.
You fear,
We're
so
in a
Patrick
state
fears
that's
when
had 2 Planned
Republicans
Parenthoods
and
closed. We are seeing
leftists
all
come
over
together.
this country women's reproductive rights under attack. And God bless Kamala. But you know what? Women should
I don't
not
know
be
if
the only
Democrats
ones
are
taking
exactly
up this
considered
cause and
leftists.
this
I mean, Bernie
fight.
Sanders
And then it is not
and
just because
Elizabeth
our
Warren,
lawyers
maybe.
and our friends and
Elizabeth
our
Warren
wives,
said
but
she's
women
a
are
capitalist,
people,
but
and
she's a
people
capitalist that likes to
deserve
regulate.
control their own body.
Senator, thank you. We are going to get to that issue later on tonight. Senator Warren, you wrote that blaming job loss on automation is, quote, a good story, except it's not really true. So
Baby
should
Gia,
workers here in Ohio
can we-
not be worried about losing their jobs to automation?
We got somebody bothering cheeseburger right now, and that's just wrong. Obama did not do anything to his
The principal
grandmother.
reason has been a bunch of corporations, giant
Obama became president after that happened. That's just ridiculous. Like this, everybody wants to throw in their little misinformation in here. I know that you're over here. Some of these people must be paid to come in here and troll for Trump because there is so much of them. It's kind of ridiculous. But that's why other people should be involved in this and they should be checking. But you know, it's unfortunate because we won't have that much participation. It's like you have to actually get paid.
In America, then by golly, 40% of your board of directors should be elected by your employees. That'll make a difference when a corporation decides, gee, we could save a nickel by moving a job to Mexico, when there are people on the board in the boardroom saying, no, do you know what that does to our company? Do you know
Thank
what
you.
that
I
does
love
to
you
our
too.
community, to what it does to our workers? We also need to make it easier to join a union and give unions more power when they negotiate. We need to restructure strength in this economy, and that's where it starts.
Thank you, Senator. Secretary Castro, what's your response to Senator Warren's claim that automation is a good story, except it's not really true?
Well, I think what folks have said is that
Obama
it's only
didn't
part of
personally
the
drown
issue,
anybody.
right?
I'm not sure why we're talking about Obama. We have a presidential election
communities that are
going on
being
right
impacted
now.
by automation.
Obama
I'm
hasn't
even
been around
willing
for a
to
long time.
pilot something like UBI to see how that would work. But
I mean, if we want to talk, we should talk about
that we spawn job opportunity
Trump,
for people across this country. As I
letting
mentioned earlier,
Turkey bomb
here in
Syria
Ohio,
right now and
the
all
latest
those
job
children
data,
dying there.
Ohio is losing jobs under Donald Trump. He has broken
We
his
should
promises
maybe-
to Ohio and the
I mean, there's
industrial
any
Midwest.
number
I
of
would
things that we
invest
could talk about,
in
but
infrastructure to put people back to work.
Hey,
I
what's
would
up,
invest in a
typical
Green New
cheeseburger?
Deal to unleash millions of new jobs in a clean energy economy. I was in Newton, Iowa a few weeks ago, and I visited a place called TPI. Newton, Iowa had
they
a
have?
Maytag washing machine manufacturing facility, and then it closed down. TPI manufactures wind turbines. They're putting hundreds of people to work at decent paying jobs and creating a better future for those families. On top of that, let me just say this, we need to support working families. We need to invest in
I'm
things
talking
like
through this whole thing, so I don't know if that
childcare,
matters
so
because
that parents
we're
can
not
afford
really even
childcare.
talking about the debate right now. I mean, people ask me to, maybe I could just have it playing or something. I don't really want to be shut down.
They see what's happening around them. They make stores are closing. They see a self-serve kiosk in every
that's
McDonald's,
the
every
case.
grocery store, every CVS. Driving a truck is the most common job in 29 states, including this one. 3.5 million
Like
truck
that.
drivers in this country. And
We
my
can
friends
still hear
in
it.
California are piloting self-driving trucks. What is that going to mean for the 3.5 million truckers or the 7 million Americans who work in truck stops, motels, and diners
Who's
that
calling
rely
her a
upon the
cheeseburger
truckers
now?
getting out and having a meal? Saying this is a rules problem is ignoring the reality that Americans see around us every single day.
Senator Warren, respond, please.
So, I understand.
Do I listen to CNN? No.
How do you strengthen America's middle class? And actually, I think the thing closest to the universal basic income is Social Security. It's one of the reasons that I put forward a plan to extend the solvency of Social Security by decades and to add $200 to the payment of every person who receives Social Security right now and every person who receives disability insurance right now. That $200 a month will lift nearly 5 million families out of poverty, and it will sure loosen up the budget for a whole lot more. It also has a provision for your wife, for those who stay home to do caregiving for children or for seniors, and creates an opportunity for them to get credit on their Social Security.
Yeah, people are doing a lot because I see Baby Q is working hard right now.
People are entitled to retire with dignity.
Thank you, Senator
I
Warren.
see this as an important question about I want to understand the data.
Okay, we don't have capitalism, we have corporatalism. Corporatism.
I want to give Congresswoman Gabbard a chance.
There is a certain kind of corporatism that's taken over everything, right? It's deep into our government. That's the
People look to
problem.
this automation revolution. They look to uncertainty. They don't know how this is going to affect their jobs and their everyday lives. And I agree with my friend Andrew Yang. I think universal basic income is a good idea to help provide that security so that people can have the freedom to make the kinds of choices that they want to see.
Oh, I hear you, typical
This has
cheeseburger.
to do with bad trade deals that we've
You know
seen
what
in the
hurt a
past
lot
that
was my mom
also
became a
driven
Trump supporter,
fear towards people
and then she
losing
passed
the way
away
that they
before.
provide for their families.
Actually, right after
Really
he-
what we need to
he,
do is look at how we can best serve the interests of the American people.
I was
do
just
not
so
believe
upset,
the
but you know
federal
what? She
jobs
spent
guarantee
many
is the way
years
to do that.
watching
The
Fox
value that
News, and I
someone
feel like
feels
Fox
in
News helped
themselves and their own lives is not
with a lot of
defined
that. They
by
have
the
pushed,
job that they
I
have,
would
but is
say,
intrinsic to who we all are as
a
Americans.
specific
Whatever
narrative,
we choose to do with
especially
our lives,
against
and we
Trump,
can't forget that.
against Obama and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying Obama is perfect, but out of all the presidents, he's a lot better than a lot of the other ones. Let's just be real. Even if he did do drones, why did he do drones? Because before, if you want to talk about different presidents, thousands and thousands of people died going in personally on foot or in airplane. And so, you know, when you're talking about, he not only did he, yeah, he, was going after ISIS, which is actually Daesh, and
Well, first of all, one point I wanted to make about
he
the
also
EI conversation.
was the one got rid of Osama bin
my friend
Laden.
Andrew Yang will
Let's
come out
remember
for this.
that. And
Doing more for
the previous
workers,
Iraq war was
at
started by
UBI,
Bush
actually
and was
just
not even
raising
focused in the
minimum
right
wage to
direction.
$15 an hour.
I'm
We
just
put more
saying,
money in people's pockets
a lot of
than
presidents
giving them $1,000.
have
We have to start
a
putting
trail
the dignity
of
back
death
in work. And number
when
one,
it comes down
we start
to
having trade deals. Not like
intervening
this
in
thing that the
wars in
president's
other
trying to push
countries.
through Congress
And
right now
Obama
because
probably has a lot
pharmaceutical
less
companies,
than
other corporations
the other
benefits and
previous
doesn't put
presidents,
workers
and this one
at
too.
the center of every
Granted,
trade deal.
I like
We
the
must
fact that
make
Trump
sure
tries to
we are
stay
not
away
giving
from
corporate
starting
tax
wars.
incentives for people
That's
to
a
move
great
jobs
thing.
out of
That's
our
probably
country.
the only thing
But
that's
start to
saving us
put the
right now.
worker at the center
But
of that and make sure that they have the resources
yeah,
to
Russia
succeed.
had a
But
huge
more
part
than
in it.
that,
I mean,
I stood with these workers
we're
because
pretty
seeing
much
this
having
trend
Russia,
all
which
over our
doesn't even
country.
have
I
nearly the
stood with
power that we
unions
have,
because right now
take over
unions
our
in America
country
are under attack.
using
As union
our
membership's
own
gone down,
social
we have seen
media
the
and
stratification of
all
wealth
these
and income in
different
this country.
optics and
So
everything.
the other thing
You
that
know,
I'll do
I
as
mean,
president of the United States
Putin is a
begin
brilliant
to
man
fight
to do that.
again to see union
And all these
strength in this
businesses are
country
brilliant, and
spread.
everybody has
To
not
make sure
been
we
paying
have
attention. A
sectoral
lot of people
bargaining
have
so
been
that
dropping the
unions
ball.
from the auto workers
Obama was
all
not
the
Bush
way to
2.0.
fast
Stop,
food
okay?
workers can ensure
Not even
that we
close.
improve
I lived through
workers'
it. I need
conditions
Patrick
and
to
make
stop
sure
because
that every
Patrick's
American
time
has a living
is
wage in this country.
not
Senator.
factual
Congressman
with
O'Rourke,
what their comments
same
are.
question
Let's
for you.
just
How
say
do you
that.
convince GM to bring production back to the United States from Mexico?
I've met with these members of the UAW who are striking outside facilities in Cincinnati, in Lordstown, Ohio, which has just been devastated, decimated by GM and their malfeasance, paying effectively zero in taxes last year. The people of Ohio investing tens of millions of dollars in the infrastructure around there, What
Yes.
they want is a show.
The Democrat
And they want
debate, you
fairness
can hear it in the
in
background.
how
I kind of
we treat
moved away
workers
from the
in
screen
this
just in
country, which we're
case
not
because it is a
receiving
point
today.
that
Part of the way to do
YouTube
that
might
is
shut the
through our
video
trade
down
unions,
just
making
because
sure that
it's.
if we
I
trade with
had it
Mexico,
before though. It wasn't a
Mexican
big
workers
deal,
are
but
allowed to
it
join
could be
unions,
because
which
it's
they're
the TV.
effectively unable to do today. Not
Yeah,
only
it's
is that
live
bad
on
for the
CNN
Mexican
right
worker,
now.
it puts the American worker at a competitive disadvantage. If we complement that with investment in world-class pre-K through 12 public education, get behind our world-class
Stalking horse. The
public school
Ukraine is
educators.
not
If we
fake
make sure that cost
stuff,
is not an
okay?
object to be able to attend college,
It's not
and if
fake.
we elevate
We got a lot of
the
trolls
role
here.
of
I'm
women's
wondering
in this
how much.
country and create more than 5
Why?
million
Like, where do you
apprenticeships
come from?
over
What
the
is your
next 8
objective?
years,
Just get Trump.
we will make sure that every
Trump
single
has the
American
most
has a
trolls
shot.
ever.
They
Like
don't
nobody
want a
else has
handout.
trolls.
They
You
don't
want
want
to
a
think
job
about that for a
guarantee.
second?
They
Why
just
does he
want a
have this
shot.
legion
Mr.
of people
President, I
that
will give
just
them that
spread
shot.
out
Thank you, Congressman.
misinformation to
Income
confuse
inequality is
people,
growing in the
trying to
United
take over the
States at an
conversation?
alarming rate. The top 1% now own more of this nation's
Mariano.
wealth than the bottom 90% combined.
I am single, but I'm not dating
When
right
you
now.
introduced the wealth tax, which would tax the assets of the wealthiest Americans, you said, quoting you, Senator, billionaires should not exist. Is the goal of your plan to tax billionaires out of
Tony.
existence?
When you have
Let's see.
500,000 Americans sleeping out on the street today, when you have 87
Yeah.
million people uninsured
Bush
or
was something else.
underinsured,
Okay, I'm looking at it.
when you
I
have
mean, he
hundreds of
has
thousands
supporters,
of kids who
without a
cannot
doubt. They're
afford
real
to
supporters.
go to college,
I'm not saying
and
they're not.
millions struggling with the
I
oppressive
just-
burden of student debt.
I
And
don't
then you
understand.
also
Like,
have 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American
a
society.
lot of the things that you all
That
do is like,
a moral
this isn't happening,
and
but it
economic
is.
outrage.
It is happening.
And the truth
This
is,
stuff is true.
we cannot
Just because somebody
afford
told you it's not
to
true and you
continue
don't want to believe
this
it.
level of income and wealth inequality, and we cannot afford a billionaire
Baby Dio
class.
is really on top of her stuff
Greed
right
and
now.
corruption has been at war with the working
I gotta
families
get
in
up
this
a little
country
bit because,
for 45 years. So if you're asking me,
My
do
knees,
I
oh my
think
gosh.
we should
I wish I had
demand that the
a
wealthy
chair
start
over
paying
here.
the wealthiest, top 1/10 of 1%, start paying their fair share of taxes?
Yes, please don't
So
just
we can
read one
create
news
a
source.
nation and a government that works for all of us. Yes, that's exactly what I believe.
I mean,
Thank you, Senator.
yeah.
Mr.
I don't want to
Senator,
speak bad on Trump supporters. You know, the thing is, they tend to be very nice and cordial at times, and then they could be really nasty, and then they don't want to. They just want to believe what they want to believe in, and it's not even in the reality. Like if there's millions of people telling you this is going on, if there's investigators and there's like whole entire groups of people saying this is going on, and even Trump agrees with it, and then you're like, but that's not going on. I mean, even Trump admits half the stuff that he did. He actually literally asked Russia and Ukraine to investigate into his political opponents. That's what we're talking about here. He did it live on TV. There's sound bites for this. You can't sit here and tell me and try and gaslight me into believing it's not true because I've seen it and heard it.
And that's the way the money
Right?
gets split up in terms of earnings.
Ukraine and China. He did
As a
ask China
result
to
of
do that too.
Taking away the rights of working
That's
people
true.
and organizing workers. People
I
haven't
mean,
had a
any of
raise.
us
Not
know,
even
like you could
saying
actually
that
watch him and
have
see
not
him
had
say
a
this sort of
raise
stuff.
for 40 years. If
Are
you
all the
took
kids gone?
the
I
minimum wage
think
from
Cheeseburger might have left because
and
this might have been a
adjusted
bit
for
much.
inflation,
I
you
think
get
we might
11
have a
bucks.
young
It's
person
7
somewhere in
and a
here.
quarter.
Somebody said they were
If you
10.
included the productivity gains of American workers, it'd be over $20.
4D
There's
chest.
something wrong with it,
And
that is that
Q
the
is
corporations have bought our government.
woo,
Our
Q
government
is crazy.
That's why
Um,
I'm running for president. Because we're not
It's
gonna
crazy
get
because the
any
people
of the
that believe
policies
that stuff
everybody on this stage
used
wants.
to think
Healthcare,
totally different back in the
education,
days.
Green New Deal,
Thank
or
you,
a
Mr.
living wage,
Steyer.
unless we break the power of these corporations.
Thank you, Mr. Steyer. Vice President Biden, you have warned against demonizing rich people. Do you believe that Senator Sanders and Senator Warren's wealth tax plans do that?
Thank you, Mariana.
Demonizing openly, what I talked about is how you get things done. And the way to get things done is take a look at the tax code right now. The idea, we have to start
It's okay.
rewarding work, not just wealth.
Q is fake.
I would eliminate the capital gains tax.
The
I would
4D
raise the
chest
capital
is
gains
like,
tax to the highest rate of 39.5%. I would double it. Because
I don't know, all of life
why
is
in
kind of
God's
like,
name should someone who's clipping coupons
strategic
in the stock
game.
market make, in fact, pay a lower
What's
tax
the
rate
difference
than
if
someone
it-
who,
if
in
it's
fact, is
1D,
like I
2D,
said,
3D,
a school teacher
it's
and a
all
firefighter.
chess.
It's ridiculous, and they pay lower
And
tax.
just playing chess doesn't.
The idea that we
Just
in
that
fact
game alone
engage
doesn't
in
explain
this
how you play
notion
life, right?
That there are
I think they try and just make it
there's 1
super.
trillion,
They make these
$640
things
billion
sound
in
like,
tax
you know,
loopholes. You
it's
can't
almost like
justify
this
at
fantasy
minimum
world.
$600 billion of that. We can eliminate it all. I could go into detail head at a time. Secondly, thirdly, what we need to do is we need to go out and make it clear to the American people that we are going to raise taxes on the wealthy. We're going to reduce tax burdens on
You do,
those who are
you know
not.
what? For
And this is one of the
you
reasons
being
why these
11
debates
and
are
you
kinda
being
crazy.
into
Because
politics
everybody tries to
already,
squeeze everything
I give you
into every answer
so
that
much
is
credit,
given.
because if
The
you're
fact
into it
is,
now,
everybody's right
you're gonna
about the
understand
fact
so
that
much by the time you're ready to vote.
is
And
costing
I
jobs.
love this
It is.
young
The
generation
fact is
coming
also
up, and they're
corporate
passionate.
greed.
They
They're going back
understand
and not investing in their employees.
that.
They're
Look, just
reinvesting
understand
and buying
something.
back their
There's
stock.
generations
Mr.
that
Vice
didn't get
President.
involved in
Yeah,
politics
Mr.
when they
President.
should have. They should have.
Senator Warren, your
If you
response.
feel like
So I think
voting
this is about
is
our values
not
as a
helpful,
country.
just think
Show
of
me
it
your
this
budget,
way.
show your tax
A lot of people
plans,
didn't vote,
we'll
and that's
know
how
what your
Trump got
values
in.
are. And right
And
now,
Trump
in
does
America,
whatever his
the top
supporters want him to. So if his
1/10 of
supporters
1%
wanted him to
have
do
so
something, he
much
would do
wealth.
it,
Understand
as long
this,
as it
if
was
we
going to
put
also make him a profit. Let's
2-cent
just be real.
tax
But a lot
on
of
their
politicians are like this.
$50
So
million
even if you feel
first
like it's
dollar,
useless,
and
what's
on
useless
every
is the fact
dollar
that
after
you're the
that,
only one trying
we
to
would
change
have enough
something.
money to provide
What
universal
works is if we
childcare for
all
every baby
can
in this
find
country
agreement on
aged 0
things
to
and
5.
make these politicians
Universal
do what we want, because they
pre-K
don't
for
have a
every
job
child.
without
Raise
us.
the
That
wages
is the
of
point.
every
We
child
have to
care
work
worker
together.
and
We have to
preschool
figure out what
teacher
we
in
want.
America. Provide for
So
universal
Elizabeth
tuition
Warren
free
is talking
college.
about free
Put
college,
$50
universal
million
college,
into historically black colleges and universities.
Thank you,
and
Senator
cancel,
Warren.
no,
and
let me finish,
daycare.
please. And cancel student loan debt
canceling
for
student loan.
95% of the people who have it. My question
And I
is
want to ask
not
you all,
why do Bernie and I support a wealth tax? It's why does everyone else on this stage?
the Obama
think it is
administration
more
did do that,
important to
Patrick.
protect
You found
billionaires
something, and
than
you
it
found
is
it
to
off of
invest in
somebody
an
who
entire generation of
is a
Thank you, Senator
CNN journalist on top of that.
Mayor Buttigieg,
I don't know, Patrick.
your response.
Why are
All
you
for a wealth tax.
so into talking about Obama, though? I said once again, Obama, regardless if he did have flaws, he did not do nearly as bad as previous presidents as to what they did. And a lot of times you have to think, once again, it is the times. If most people supported segregation, then segregation happens. If most people supported war, then war happened. And mind you, a lot of the wars that did happen based on that, other than World War II, they were baseless, and it was like the Iraq War was a lie. They were fooled, but you know, they were told lies. Vietnam, though, people were against that war. And eventually it stopped because of that. So it's really based on the most people, but us as Americans, we need to come to a certain agreement if we really want to get things done. The way that these politicians are divided on everything is because we're divided on everything. That's how it works.
I'm open to it, but I want to give a reality check here to Elizabeth, because no one on this stage wants to protect billionaires. Not even the billionaire wants to protect billionaires. We just have different approaches. Your idea is not the only idea. And when I look at this, I think about Donald Trump, the guy that after that tax bill passed, went to Mar-a-Lago, got together with his cronies, and said, guess what? You guys all got a lot richer. That was the one time in his presidency he told the truth. So we have different ways. I would repeal significant portions of that tax bill that helped the rich, including what he did with the corporate tax rate, including what he did on international taxation. You add it all up, you got a lot of money. That one helps pay for that child care, protects that dignity of work, make sure we have decent retirement, and make sure that our kids can go to the
I'm going to turn on the light real quick.
One idea that
Let's see if I can.
So understand, taxing income is not going to get you where you need to be the way taxing wealth does. That the rich are not like you and me. The really, really billionaires are making their money off their accumulated wealth, and it just keeps growing. We need a wealth tax in order to make investments in the next generation. Look,
So let's talk about a wealth tax, right?
But I think as Democrats, we are going to succeed when we dream big and fight hard.
Did you all
Not
know?
when we dream small and quit before we
Did you know
I
that
would
in the
respond to that.
50s
Senator Klobuchar,
they
respond.
started the
I-
I think
biggest
simply because you have
taxing
different ideas
of
doesn't
wealth?
mean you're
It was
fighting
about
for regular
90%.
people. I
And
wouldn't even be
after
up
that,
on this stage if it wasn't for unions
universities
and
were
taking
free.
up work. If my grandma
They were
didn't
free
have
for a
unions
whole
protecting
generation.
him
The
in those
boomers,
mines,
the
he
boomer
would have
generation.
survived.
Let's talk about
My
this for a
mom
second.
didn't have unions that as a
People
teacher,
like this
she
right
wouldn't
here.
have been able to
These
make the
people
wage
right
that she
here
made
got
when
free
my parents
education
got
or low
divorced.
cost
And
education.
just because we have different ideas,
They got
get to the same place in
opportunities.
terms
And
of
then
beating Donald Trump
they
and
allowed
taking this on. We
for
are
these
in Ohio.
universities
We
to
can
start
win
charging people
Ohio
ridiculous
in the
amounts
presidency,
for the
but
last
only
30
if
years
we
in public
unite.
education.
We unite
Let's
around
not fund that because we don't want to be
ideals and
taxed.
don't
And
go
let's not
fighting
tax the
against
rich.
each other
Let's just
and instead
scale
take
it
the
back.
fight to
Thank you,
him.
Senator.
All of that
Senator
happened
Harris, we want to give
based
working
on
families
people
a tax
who were at
break
the
of up
age
to
of actually
$6,000
benefiting
to help
from
ease the
practically
income
free
gap. Is that a better
education.
solution than a wealth
And then they
tax?
left the next
Here's how I
generation
think
stuck.
about it. When I was growing up,
Okay, so
my
as
mother
the United
raised my
States
sister
has
and we
had
would often
a
come
pretty
home from
much
school before she
socialist
came
program
home from work.
already
She'd come
before
home
that
and
worked
she cooked
very
dinner
well. And it
at some
generated
point we go to
a
bed,
wealthy,
she'd sit up at the kitchen
country.
table
And once we became
trying
super
to figure out how to
wealthy,
make it all
the
work.
rich were
And when I
like,
think
you're
about
taxing
where
us
we
too
are
much.
right
And
now in 2020,
90%
I
probably
believe
is way
justice
too
is
much.
on
I
the
think
ballot.
everybody should pay their
It's on
fair
the ballot
share.
in terms of
We-
impeachment. It's
I
on
should
the
pay
ballot in terms
more
of economic justice,
than
health justice, and so many other
Jeff
issues.
Bezos of
So when I think
Amazon,
about
but
this
we
issue, I'm
do,
thinking about
right?
my dad, who tonight is going to be sitting at his
So,
kitchen table.
you know,
After
why
everyone's
you would
gone to
come in
sleep,
here and start talking
and
about
sitting there with his
Obama
cup of tea
or start talking about
coffee,
you can't
trying to
give
figure
away
out how it's gonna
education
make- how
when
it's
it's
gonna
happened
work. And he's
before and
probably
it's
sitting
worked
there
very well
deciding
for
that on
the
that
boomer
minimum wage
generation,
job,
but the
that does
rest
not
of us
pay
are
enough for
just
him to
pretty much
meet the
left
bills
stuck,
at the end
you
of the
know.
month. He's gonna have to start driving an Uber.
I don't know, it's
And what
happened
does that
before,
mean?
why not?
That means that with those two jobs, he's gonna miss
I don't
his
know.
kids' soccer games. That's the reality for Americans today, which is why, yes,
Baby
when
Gia.
when I get elected and pass this bill.
You got
to
it.
give
Like
the
this,
American
Baby
family
Gia is my
that
best friend.
$100,000
She can do
a
whatever
year,
in here.
the
She
taxpayer
controls
like
everything.
$6,000 a year that they can take
I'm
home
so
at
glad
$500
you're
a
on
year.
here right
That's
now.
gonna make a
Man,
huge difference in
I don't
that
know what I would
man's
do
life.
without you.
And don't tell him that's not a good
I know
thing.
you
That's
try,
gonna
you
get
try,
rid of
because
him.
you know,
Mr.
I mean,
Gagnon,
I don't,
response, would you oppose
I
wealth
want
tax?
Trump supporters to come in here, or I don't remember if Patrick was a Trump supporter, but Patrick was putting up a lot of BS, let's just be
And
real.
wealth tax makes a lot of sense in principle.
Okay,
The problem
I
is
got
that
it.
we've been
I don't know how
trying
long
in
this
Germany,
this
France,
debate will go on too.
Denmark, Sweden, and all those countries ended
Would
up
you
being
oppose a
killed
wealth
because
tax?
it had
Yes,
massive
oppose a
implementation
tax.
problems and did not
And
generate
close
the
the
revenue that they
loopholes.
projected.
I used to
If we
work
can't
for
learn from
a
the failed experiences of other countries, what can we
for
learn from? We should not be
Wall Street,
looking
pretty
to other
much.
countries.
And they have all
mistakes.
kinds of
Instead, we should
loopholes
look at what
so that
Germany,
people can
France,
stash their
Denmark,
money
Sweden
away
still
and
have,
never
which
have
is
to pay
a value-added
taxes.
tax. If we
How
gave
how
the
does that make
American
you
people
feel as a
tiny
regular
slice of
person
every
who
Amazon
has to
sale,
pay a
every
ton of
Google
taxes
search,
out of your
every
own
robot
paycheck?
truck
Every time you
stop,
get your
every
paycheck,
Facebook
you're
ad,
like,
we could
okay, I
generate
make
hundreds
this
of billions of
much,
dollars
and then I
put it
look
into our hands because we know best how to
and
use
I've
it.
been taxed about 40%.
Thank you.
30 to
Congressman, what do you
40%.
think a wealth tax?
And
is
then
the best way
you
to
see
address
these
income inequality?
billionaires that are
I think
making
it's
so much
focused,
money, and they're
but I think we
using
need to
government
focus
services, and they're
on
using
lifting
a tremendous
people up.
amount. Their
And sometimes
footprint
I
is
think
huge
that
on what they use,
Senator
and
Warren
they don't have
is
to
more
pay
focused on
any
being
taxes.
punitive or pitting some part of the country against the other.
I don't know
instead
why
of lifting
anybody
people
would be
up and
okay
making
with
sure
that.
This country comes together around those solutions. I think a woman that I met in
Yeah, Bernie
Las Vegas,
Sanders is
Nevada,
worth
she's
money,
working
and that's
4
fine.
jobs,
We didn't say we were
raising her
against
child with disabilities.
people that had
Many American
a
with
few
disabilities
$million.
know
That's a big
just how
difference
hard it
than
is to make it and get by
somebody who has
in this country
billions and
already.
billions of dollars and they're
Some of the
hiring hiring lobbyists and taking over the government. That's the problem. It's not rich people in particular. I'm all for making money. I would like to make money. I would love $3 million. Wouldn't you love $3 million? But do you think that you need to have $40 billion so that you can hire lobbyists to make politicians do your bidding and screw over the American public? That's what's not right.
Under my administration, if you make less than $250,000 a year as a family,
Hey,
you will
Ezra.
not see a
All right,
tax
thank you for
increase.
stopping by. Sorry I didn't I didn't really chat with you.
So,
Oh, you staying?
I'm really shocked at the notion
All right,
that
never
anyone
mind.
thinks I'm punitive. Look, I don't have a beef with billionaires. My problem is you made a fortune in America. You had a great idea. You got out there and worked for it. Good for you.
Thank you.
But you built that fortune in America America, I guarantee you built it in part using workers all of us help pay to educate. You built it in part getting your goods to market on roads and bridges all of us help pay for. You built it at least in part protected by police and firefighters.
Oh, baby, yeah.
All of us
Kankle's
help pay
been
the
saying a
salaries
lot
for.
of
And
interesting
all I'm
stuff too.
saying is, you make it to the top 1/10
Because
of 1%,
cheeseburger.
then pitch in
I don't know,
2 cents so every other kid in America
I don't know
has
why
a
they're
chance
coming
to
after you.
Thank you,
That's
Secretary
what
Cassidy.
Why they would want to come after an 11-year-old who is actually pretty smart with politics.
And need help doing expanded
Probably
learning
smarter than a lot of people who are 3-4 times their age.
That is the point. This is universal child care for every baby in this country. Early
Hey,
education
Tony.
opportunities for every child. Universal pre-K.
You know I'm for daycare
3-year-old and 4-year-old.
But in addition to that, will they see a tax increase?
because then you can get everybody working. I remember when I lost my job, I couldn't get assistance for daycare or free daycare, so I couldn't get a job for like 6 months. How ridiculous is that? So I gotta be stuck on public assistance because I can't get daycare? Why don't you just use that public assistance and to get paying for my daycare so I can go to work?
And you see that everybody has their own plans, and let me just say that the way that I view this is born out of my own experience. I grew up, like I bet a lot of folks.
Have a good dinner, Tony. I should have made dinner and I haven't.
I grew up with my twin brother Joaquin in a single-parent household where my mom was working hard to support us and also her mom, my grandmother. And we knew what it was like to wonder whether we were going to be able to pay the rent at the first of the month.
What do you mean he's not 11?
Sometimes have the electricity turned off. And when I was a kid, to look at the grocery list,
I've had a lot of
it
people
seemed to
say
get
they were
shorter
young.
and shorter. And that's
But
what's
I
happening
believe
to a lot of
whatever
families
you guys
these
say.
days.
Sure.
I was in Las Vegas a few months ago, and I visited
Maybe.
people who are homeless,
Maybe not everything.
who are living in storm drainage tunnels under the Las Vegas Strip, in the shadow of hotels and casinos that are worth hundreds
I
of
beat
millions
the
of
keys
dollars.
really hard.
People from around the world
Everybody
are
says that.
spending so much money on vacations. We can do better than that. I believe that a
You
wealthy
should see me when I'm like in a room typing and everybody just turns to me and they're like, what is that clickety clack? Why are you typing so hard?
Thank you, Secretary. Senator Booker, please respond.
So it sounds like they all want us to talk about daycare. That's the first time I heard anything about affordable housing. Affordable housing should be up for a topic, right? I bet you everybody is dealing with that, or almost people are, even if you're not in California or New York.
And tearing each other down because we have a different plan, to me, is unacceptable. I have seen this script before. It didn't work in
Cheeseburger.
2016, and it will be disaster for us in 2020.
Cheeseburger, you understand politics pretty well, actually. But that's the thing is, I don't push anybody to vote for anybody, so I don't know why we have to have a bunch of people in here trying to push everybody to vote for Trump. That's not what this chat is about. We're trying to chat about ideas.
And we have never talked about the violence in America of child poverty. We have got to begin to talk more eloquently and more persuasively and urgently about doing the things, not just to make sure fair taxes are paid by people at the top, but that we deal with the moral obscenity of having the highest levels of child poverty in the industrial world. My plan
Well,
will
that's
focus
good.
on that.
You can't
and
get a
these are
house
some
like
issues
that in
we should be talking
California.
about, not defining ourselves just by what we're against.
Let me
but we need to
issue
win this election by
control
talking
of
about
nation's
who
money,
and what we
and
are
I
for.
care not who writes the laws. I think that we should care who writes the
We're gonna
laws.
take a quick break right now. The CNN New York Times debate live from Otterbein University in Ohio.
I'm not really sure what the point of that was. Alright, I'm gonna turn this down because of this. Was that over? Is that it?
The CNN New York Times Democratic presidential debate is brought to you by Jack Ryan. New season coming November 1st on Amazon Prime Video.
The Russians are sick.
Was that it? It was just an hour? Are they going back? I'm confused. What's going on? It looks like they're still gonna do it. I'm turning it down because we don't need to hear commercials. No, California, you can't find anything out here. If I lose this place, I'm leaving. I can't afford to live out here. How many kids do I have? I have twin daughters who just turned 20 years old. Alright, Cheeseburger. I don't know what you're doing now, but it's getting flagged by YouTube. And I have 2 cats. You hear one, they're getting fed right now. Are you gonna feed Duke? Do you want me to bring Duke in?
I don't know where he is. I guess you could take him in.
I'm gonna go get Duke real quick because they need to eat. Duke, do you want to eat or what? Come on. Duke, come on. Looks like the debate is still going on. Go eat. I don't think you meant anything. You got 2 kids. Paparazzi got 2 kids and 3 dogs. That's a lovely family. I got the 2 kids and the 2 cats. Thank you, Cheeseburger. Yeah, sometimes YouTube does. I think I only just was saying it didn't really make a lot of sense. Patrick, why are you shocked that I'm a cat person? Is that sarcasm? Yes. Alright, Patrick must be doing too much again. I mean, what's wrong with being a cat person? Cats are wonderful. Animals are wonderful. If you don't like animals, or you want to judge people, I'm sorry for you, because you don't live you sound kind of miserable. Yeah, thank you. I think you can actually block people too if they just come in and they're just being. Actually, it might. Oh, you can't. It doesn't seem like you can block them. You can remove them. Remove comments. Cat politics. Cat. So we still got commercials. Still waiting for commercials. How's the feeding of the cats?
They're just fed.
They sound happy and content. Get a little closer. Because I've been sitting so far away. Ah! Do I have any ketchup? Actually, I don't like ketchup that much, so it's funny because people, yeah, I think so. My daughter's friends came in and they're like, why don't you have any ketchup in this house? We don't eat ketchup at all. ABC YouTube is Boots on the Ground Live. Well, I'm sitting in my living room live. You got the special commentary of moi. Alright, they're back on. We haven't really even talked much about what they were talking about. It almost sounds like they all sound the same though. They're just arguing over and nitpicking over how things are taxed and stuff like that.
Vice President Biden, we know you would not have withdrawn troops from northern Syria in this way, but that is already
Sun
in
radiance
process.
picture.
So would you send American troops back into northern Syria to prevent an ISIS resurgence and protect our Kurdish allies?
Ranch.
I would not have withdrawn the troops, and I would not have drawn the additional 1,000 troops.
Try on your
Iraq,
flip-flops.
which we retreat now, being fired on by Assad's people, and the President of the United States saying, if those ISIS folks escape from the prisons they're in, they'll only go to Europe.
Should U.S. troops be sent back into northern Syria to prevent an ISIS resurge and protect our Kurdish allies? What do you all think?
In terms of foreign policy. And the fact of the matter is, I've never seen
I think we never should have gotten involved in these wars a long time ago, but what's going on has a lot to do with us and withdrawing too soon before. Obama did make that mistake before.
Former and present are ashamed of what's happening here.
No ISIS.
Be making it real clear to Assad
Well,
that in fact
I hate that they call it ISIS because ISIS is a goddess, an Egyptian goddess.
Having a real lockdown conversation.
No violence, no war would be great. We spend way too much on the military. If we can pay that much for the military, and also let's think about the fact that we sell our weapons to the Kurds. We also sell our weapons to Ukraine. We sell our weapons to Saudi Arabia. Our weapons are pretty much killing everybody out there.
Protecting those Kurds. They lost.
So not only do we waste so much money on just
shameful what this man has done.
I mean, they can sit here and say it's shameful, but why do we have such a huge military budget? Why do we keep paying for all these new equipments and all this stuff? And now you don't even need that many troops in there. We have the least amount of people actually boots on the ground than ever in our history. Least amount of people dying. And we just keep spending money and we keep getting involved. So I agree we shouldn't be involved with stuff.
But so do many of the
Oh, you've got a girl at your school, ISIS? My daughter's middle name is ISIS.
Regime change war in Syria that started in 2011, along with many in the mainstream media.
ISIL is better, yes. Right.
This regime change war.
And I think it's supposed to be called Daesh. It's I think DAESH.
Have also smeared veterans like myself for calling for an end to this
Right.
regime
It is
change.
hostile. It is
Just 2 days ago,
complicated.
the New York Times put
And a
out
large part of
an
it
article
is
saying
men
I'm
have
a
been ruling it for far too long. And I'm not saying let's stop men from being in power and just saying let's mix it up a little bit. Let's not have just the small few people that have been continuing this for generations.
As president, I will end these
Let's have people that
regime
actually
change
aren't,
wars by
I don't
doing
even
2
care,
things.
like, I just want people that
Ending
aren't
the
for
draconian sanctions
war
that are really a
and
modern
for
day siege
military
wars that we're
contracts.
seeing Saudi Arabia wage against Yemen that have caused tens and thousands of Syrian civilians
You need to do your homework.
to
Go ahead and do your
die and to
homework.
starve.
You should be doing
And
that
make
first and
sure that we
foremost.
stop supporting terrorists like Al-Qaeda in Syria, who've been the ground force in this ongoing regime change war. I'd like to ask Senator Warren if she would join me in calling for an end to this regime change war.
I'm
in
just kind of
Syria
moving this a
finally.
little bit because
So look, I think that we ought to get out of the Middle East. I don't think we should have.
we can all
things
hear
in
what's
the
going
Middle
on.
East. But we have to
And
do
we're
it
talking
the
about
right
it.
way.
And we can all watch our live streams
What
like,
this president has done
who was it?
is that he has
Somebody was
sucked
saying it was
up
on
to
ABC too.
dictators. He has made
There's live
impulsive
streams out there.
decisions that often his own team doesn't
We're just
understand.
chatting about it.
Cut and run on our
I think that's one
allies.
thing most of us can all agree on is that we really need to stop so much military spending and so much war. We just shouldn't be doing it. You think you can do homework and watch this at the same time? You're good at memorizing the 37 amendments? 27? Better than me. I mean, I know the basic amendments, but I did not have a great education. Patrick, you're going to be put on timeout real fast if you start up again.
An end to endless wars. What's your response on Syria?
Well, respectfully, Congresswoman, I think that is dead wrong.
I hope you're here
The slaughter
to
going on in Syria is not a
give us
consequence
some
of
actual
American presence.
what's
It's a
going on
consequence
today.
of
Do you
wrong
agree that we
being
should
betrayed
be at
by this
war, that
president
we should be
of
doing
American
military spending?
allies
That's what we're
and
talking about right now. That is the
I think we
topic,
should have gone to Iraq in the first place. I think
right?
need
We
to
should
get
not
out
have
of
gone to
Afghanistan.
Iraq in the first
But it's
place.
also the case that a small number of specialized
Buttigieg is
special operations
talking.
forces and intelligence capabilities were the only thing that stood between that part of Syria and what we're seeing
No
now,
war.
which is the
Patrick
beginning
is
of
for no
genocide.
war and war. Hey, we all got an agreement. Woohoo!
Meanwhile, soldiers in the field are reporting that for the first time they feel ashamed
Buttigieg was actually, what was he
of
in?
what their country has done.
He's not a
We saw
Marine.
the spectacle,
He was in the military.
horrifying sight of a woman with the lifeless body of her child in her arms, asking what the hell happened to American leadership. When I was deployed, I knew one of the things keeping my me safe was the fact that the flag on my
Okay,
shoulder,
Patrick didn't last very
representing a
long.
country known to keep its word, and our allies knew it. And our
No, I see
You take
it.
that away, you are taking away what makes America America. It makes our troops and the world a much more dangerous place.
Congresswoman Garrett, your response.
And Infinity
So
War.
really what you're saying,
Yeah, we don't need
is that
Thanos.
you would
No
continue to
Thanos.
support having U.S. troops in Syria for an indefinite
Cheeseburger's
period
funny.
of time to continue this regime
I see,
change
baby.
war
Yeah.
that has caused so
Like,
many
I don't want.
refugees
I
to
can't deal
flee
with this today.
Syria,
I'm
that you
sorry.
continue to
Are you
have
still
our
at
country
work? Why don't you
involved
leave? I
in
got it. I'll
that
take care of it
undermine
from
our
here.
national
We only
security.
got like
You would
8
continue
to
this
12 people
policy
coming
of
in
the U.S. actually providing
at a
arms and
time.
support to terrorist groups in Syria, like Al Qaeda, HTS, Al Nusra, and others, because they are the ones who have been the ground force in this regime.
Yeah,
change
go ahead and
war.
leave.
That's
I got
what
it.
you're saying.
I don't know that this will take much longer. It'll end at 7. Diversity for Israel. What does that mean, tech guy?
What is an endless war if it's not yet another regime change war?
You feel like Israel is trying to prevent diversity?
In Syria was
I think that whole situation is very complicated and it's been going on for many decades.
to get people to put their lives on the line to back us up. It's the idea that we will back
I gotta
them
let
up
my
too.
cat outside. Night, baby Gia.
Not just the
Yeah, be nice,
National
please.
Army Force.
I gotta go let my cat out. Don't do anything crazy in the next like 30 seconds.
I would have a hard time today looking an Afghan civilian
Come
or
on,
soldier
kitties.
in the eye after what just happened over there. And it is undermining the honor of our soldiers. You take away
You want
the
to?
honor of our soldiers, you might as well
No?
go after their bodies or next. This president has betrayed American values. Our credibility is in tatter. I will restore U.S. credibility before it is finally too late.
Senator Sanders, is Turkey still a U.S. ally? Should they remain in NATO? So is Turkey still a U.S. ally? Should they remain
Alright,
in
let's
NATO?
see. Oh gosh.
Turkey is not a
No,
US ally.
no walls anywhere. Okay.
Another
Borderless.
country and engage in mass slaughter. The crisis here.
I don't know that tech guy is a bot. Can you
When
actually
you begin to betray
bot
people
on
in terms
YouTube
of the
comments?
11,000 of them
Hey,
died
Johnny.
fighting ISIS.
From UK.
20,000 were wounded.
You listening
The
to?
United States
Okay, now you're gone. Really, baby
We're
Gia?
standing with you.
Go
And then
home.
suddenly one day,
You got a kid. Oh.
after a phone call with Erdogan announced by tweet, Trump
I think she wants
reverses that
outside.
policy. Now you tell me, what country in the world would trust the word of the President of the United States? In other words, what he has done is wreck our ability to do foreign policy, to do military policy, because nobody in the world will believe this pathological lie.
But this is really important because what this president has done shows that American leadership shapes the behavior of our allies, or sometimes allies too.
It's a new
The
AI
problem
feature.
right now is not just that with our competitors.
This bot knows you have a cat.
Hong Kong
I have 2
rise up for
cats.
democracy and don't
Everybody
get
got to see
support
both
for the
cats
president.
at
It's not
some
just
point
the
today.
behavior of adversaries like Russia, but our one-time allies, like Saudi Arabia, which the CIA just concluded
Clap your
was
souls, bare
responsible,
feet,
as we all
please.
knew, for murdering
Final
and
Destiny.
dismembering an
Do you have
American
a
resident
foot
journalist
fetish?
and Turkey, which was an American ally. That's the point. We have
Is that
leverage, but when we abandon the international stage, when we think our only choices are between endless war or total isolation,
Oh, I'm not
the
gonna.
consequence is the disappearance of U.S. leadership from the world stage, and that makes this
As long as
entire
tech
world
guy is being cool, I'm fine with it.
We need to work with our allies, to work with Turkey and bring them out.
Smile.
This is an outrageous
Socks.
thing that happened
I'm
here.
not taking them
And I
off.
think we need to talk about this, not only in terms of the horror of what happened here with Turkey, the fact that our president blew it, and now he's too proud to say it. And what do we do now? We continue that humanitarian aid, but then we work with our allies to say, come back, Turkey, and
Is
stop
Turkey
this,
still a
because
U.S.
what
ally
Mayor
and
Pete
should
has
it
just
remain
said
in
is
NATO?
true. Think about our other allies, Israel. How do they feel right now? Donald Trump is not true to his word when they are a beacon of democracy in the Mideast. Think about our allies in Europe when he pulls out of the Iranian agreement and leaves them holding the bag and gives the power to China and Russia. Think about the nuclear agreement with Russia that he precipitously pulled out of. This is part of a pattern. It's not an isolated incident.
And who was it that wanted me to do this live chat? I don't see them on here anymore. It was paparazzi, right?
trust her?
You still on
That's
here,
a great question,
paparazzi?
Anderson, because the Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America has as one of her greatest priorities and responsibilities to concern herself with the security of our nation and homeland. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee. I have over a period of time received classified
What
information
would
about
you
the
do to
threats to our
convince the world that the
security
United
and
States can
hotspots
still
around
be
the world.
trusted?
What has happened in Syria is yet
That's a
again
good
Donald
question, and
Trump
I think
selling
that's going to be
folks
something
out.
that we'll have to
And
earn
in
over
this
time.
case, he sold out the
Can the
who
U.S. be
fought with
trusted?
us, and thousands died in our fight against ISIS. And let's be
Is there
clear,
anything
what
that
Donald
Trump has done
because of that phone
that is
call
good
with
in my
Erdogan,
viewpoint?
it's basically giving 10,000 ISIS fighters a get out of jail free card. And you know who the winner is in this? There are four.
I think there was one or
Iran,
maybe two things.
Assad, and ISIS.
He let that
This
one
is a
woman,
crisis
he pardoned that one
Donald
woman
Trump's
out of jail.
making,
That was
and it
nice.
is on a long list of
I feel
crises
like it was
Donald
politically
Trump's
motivated.
making, and that's
Um,
why do gotta go. And when I am Commander-in-Chief, we will stop this madness.
Yeah, it's hard.
Secretary Castro, your response.
Well, I mean, you asked the question, how are we gonna get people to trust us again? The first thing is,
I'm trying to
we gotta
remember
Donald Trump out of the
anything
Oval
that I
Office
thought he did
so that
good.
people trust us again.
I think that it's good
You know,
that
I
he
also
hasn't
want
brought
people
us
to say
into any
the
wars.
folks this week that saw those images of ISIS prisoners running free, to think about how absurd it is that this
But
president
he's getting
is
pretty
caging
close.
kids on
He's
the
almost
border
gotten us
and
into wars.
effectively letting ISIS prisoners run free.
All this stuff is going to affect us in the long run
He
later
has
on.
made a tremendous mistake, a total disaster there in Syria. And just to connect the dots for a second, if you're Kim Jong-un,
Hey,
for
Wolfie
instance,
from
why in
Canada.
the world would you believe anything that this president says to contain your nuclear weapons program when he tore up an Iran nuclear agreement that we just signed 4 years ago, which was the strongest
You
agreement
heard
to
that
contain
Donald Trump is not
Iran's
treated
nuclear
with
weapons
urban
program.
air.
And now
I don't know what
he's
that means.
abandoned the very people that we gave our word to. I would make sure that we work with our allies to pressure Syria to stop the aggression.
Julian Castro was part of the Obama administration,
Senator Booker, the American Intelligence Community,
and
says
he'd
that
probably
Russia
know.
is trying
And
to
one thing Obama was
capitalize
good at was
on the
diplomacy.
power
He made
around the world, as
us
we're
look
seeing
so
right
much
now
better
in
to the rest of the
Syria.
world. He had
What
so many super
specifically
fans
will you
around the
do as
world.
president to check Vladimir
I don't think
Putin's
people realize how
power
important
on
that
the world
was,
stage?
So first of all,
and how much
understand
Trump has just been done all
that
over.
this president is turning the moral leadership of this country into a
Cheeseburger.
dumpster fire.
What does Canadian bacon and pigs have to do with it? Aren't you supposed to be doing homework?
So the world stage,
Just because someone
the
lives in
United States of
Canada
America,
doesn't mean
we
they
know better
even know what.
than the United
I
States
don't
of
even know if
America,
Canadian
and
bacon
no
is
better, no greater
is
enemy.
American or Canadian.
This
It's just like French fries. Are they French? No.
And now is doing the things to undermine our critical alliances and partner with Russia.
I like
And so
British
clearly
bacon.
to your,
The way it's
to
cut
your
is
question,
nice and thick.
Number one, we cannot allow the Russians to
What would you
continue
do to check the
grow
power of
influence
Russia's
by abandoning
Vladimir
the
Putin on the world stage?
We cannot allow Russia to not only interfere in the democracies of the
More
Ukraine,
sanctions?
Latvia, and Lithuania, but even
I mean, that's what they
pulling
did
them
before and
out
it
from
didn't
their
work.
efforts to interfere
His
in
whole
this
entire reason for
democracy
interfering with
are
everything was the
unacceptable.
sanctions.
Russia and Putin
It was
understand
cutting his
strength.
business,
And this
his
president,
ability to
time and
make
time
money,
again,
his
is showing
ability
moral
to
weakness.
try
His
and take
promises
back
to the American
Ukraine
people
under
that he's
his
going to
control.
protect this nation. Well,
That's
instead
why
of
he
doing something
was
to defeat
coming
ISIS,
up
he's now
with that.
giving them a foothold again. This is an American president that even right now is lying to the American public and saying he's bringing our troops home.
Trump,
At the same time,
Trump,
he's
my
increasing
joy,
his
thinks that
competitiveness with the Saudis and who
I
are
should
very
get
involved in
bitten by a
unjust
specific
war.
rattlesnake.
They're killing tens of thousands of children in Yemen.
This is
This
a
president
perfect
is
example
making
of
us
Trump
less
supporters
safe.
who
He's
are just
partnering more with Putin than he is with Merkel and Macron. As president of the United States, I will stop this.
I reject your bad and negative
American
energy.
integrity abroad.
I
Thank
throw
you,
it back.
Senator Vice President.
I think I maybe, that make me.
And let me tell you something.
Maybe the only person.
I live in the Bay Area. We don't have rattlesnakes.
As well as with Erdogan.
Keep dreaming.
And Erdogan understands that. We talk about should he stay in or out of NATO. He understands.
I mean, how am I gonna be bit by a rattlesnake?
But the fact of the matter is, we have been one.
I'm in
leader
Oakland.
This administration, because we have an
I might get
crazy
hit by a
president
car,
who knows not
shot in
a
the head.
damn thing
I'm not
about
gonna get
foreign
hit by
policy.
no
And
rattlesnake.
operates out of fear for his own reelection. Think what's happening. The fact of the matter is, you have Russia influencing and trying to break up
Okay.
NATO. What does the president do? He says, I believe.
You got a cool imagination.
I believe Vladimir
You
Putin.
keep
I don't believe our
keep up with that. I mean, we could be talking about how can we find ways to unify each other, but you want to hate me, and that's fine, because I don't have any hatred for you. I would never waste my energy on you like that. No, I'm sure you don't mean any disrespect, Cheeseburger.
Our security will be vastly underrated. We will be in real trouble. And with regard to regime change in Syria,
I live off
that has
autocorrect.
not been the policy to change the regime. It has been to make sure that the regime did not.
So this is still going.
Hundreds of thousands of
We still have now 5 people,
and
probably because there's really no point.
Lastly, and I apologize for going out, but lastly, what is happening in Iraq is going to, in Afghanistan, as well as all the way over to Syria. We have ISIS that's going to come here. They are.
Okay, I have no hatred. You are watching the Democrat. This is direct disrespect to you. I don't even know you. This is America. We have freedom to do what we want. Did you forget that? Did you forget that? You are the one taking this personally. Why are you taking it personally? I don't know. You have personal issues. Deal with them. Is this it? If we're not really going to talk about this stuff, and, you know, the reason why I was asked to do this, then I'm just going to stop it. Because I'm not here to have people just come in and hate.
Yes.
Like, it's just sad. It's pathetic to me that this is what you spend your time on. I want to talk about issues. If you're not talking about issues and trying to bring this country together and taking this seriously, then we don't need to do this at all.
Democracy right now, as we speak, still at the invitation of this.
Yeah, it's just a troll, and that's all I've had. Is not all I've had in here, but I've had a lot of Trump trolls. Like, that's all they do is just spout out negativity and fake BS. They don't talk about how can we all agree on something. We all agree that, at least on one thing, and that we shouldn't be at war all the time, and we shouldn't be spending all this money on military stuff. That's something we can all agree on. Can we agree on anything else? Can we agree that Putin wants to be involved in our politics so that he doesn't have sanctions, so that he can make money, so that he can take over certain powers and certain territories? He has an interest in Syria.
It makes it more likely we will have to send another generation.
But you want to come in here
those battles there.
as a Trump supporter and wish harm upon me.
Two powers, one of intimidation,
and guess what?
One of inspiration.
I reject it.
Now focus on that latter power.
You have no effect on me.
Diplomacy and our state
Come on now. This is why Trump supporters shouldn't even talk about politics, because they're not talking about anything. They're just hateful. They're just hateful people. Where did you get all this hate from? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that right now.
To make sure that they can accomplish those goals for
Thank
this
you,
country
Congressman.
and for the world.
Thank you, Congressman. Mr. Steyer, would you publicly reveal what the U.S.
I honestly think Trump can go to jail. I honestly think Trump is corrupt. I honestly think Trump only cares about his money, and yes, he cares about his base, and his base only cares about themselves. They want a past America that doesn't exist anymore because they're afraid of the diversity, and they're afraid that, oh my gosh, women are empowering themselves, and oh my gosh, gay people are marrying each other. America is becoming more free. That's just terrible. Let's put Trump in to disrupt everything and ruin everybody's lives because I have the privilege to do it.
Let's go to the most important international problem that we're facing, which no one has brought up, which is climate. We can't solve the climate.
Yeah, I know. They're not forced to be here. We just don't like liberals. Why? They're people too.
10 years taking on the corporations.
They have their way of thinking. They have a reason why they fight for what they fight for. You just want to eliminate people. And you know what people who want to get together and they want to commit genocide are? They're fascists. So Trump, my joy, is a fascist. That's pretty much what it comes down to. You just want people to die. You want to hurt people. I get it. You're on here exposing yourself. That's the reason why, the only reason why I let your comments go. Because I want to show people exactly what we have to deal with all the time. There's a fascist movement of people that have been entitled. Many of them are boomers who got plenty of education and plenty of opportunities. They're not poor. All this, oh, they're just poor people. No, they're not. A lot of them are upper middle class. They don't want to pay their taxes. They're spoiled and then they're entitled. They're bullies. They don't want people to live their lives. They want to tell you how to live. That's a fascist. You're fascist.
hostility against the American people. I believe most Americans would support me on this. But Russian hacking of our democracy is an illustration of the 21st century threats. Artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, climate change, loose nuclear material.
Right, Cheeseburger? Why is this person coming in, spending their time talking to people they don't like? That doesn't even make sense.
In terms of technology, we all know we are decades behind the curve on technology. We saw when Mark
Whoa.
Zuckerberg testified in Congress the nature.
Trump my joy. Why do you not like Kim Jong-un? He's a person too. Why do I care about Kim? Why do you care about Kim Jong-un? He's a dictator. He starves his people. He's a spoiled brat. He got his role from his daddy. You're not talking about people that worked hard to get where they want, what they are. You're talking about you like a dictator that takes away people's freedom. How un-American you are. Because America is supposed to be about our freedoms to be who we are. As a matter of fact, that's what Republicans say that they're supposed to be for. Less government intervention, people not telling you how you're supposed to live. If you're not hurting anybody, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm freely talking. This is America. This is what we can do.
Came from and who paid for them. That's the Honest Ads Act. That's a bipartisan bill that I lead, and we can't wait to become president to get that done. We need to get it done now.
We want to turn
Karma.
back to domestic issues and
How is this mental illness? I was actually asked to do this, and you're staring at me in an apartment, arguing with the internet. I could be doing a lot better things, but I was trying to encourage people to talk about issues that they actually can all agree on. And instead, the internet is just arguing with me because, yes, there's a lot of mental illness in there. These Trump supporters, namely, that are talking to me, turn off the stream, Karma. Why don't you turn off my stream? Bye.
Look, we're gonna make sure.
Like, why would you come in here and tell me to turn off my stream? I don't care if there's one person. If I want to be streaming, I'll stream.
Agrees that it's not right, and as president would seek to
The internet is real. You're talking to me right now. This is real. This is real. You see me right now? You are chatting on my stuff. This is real. And I'm not going to delete my stuff just because, what? Do you find me as a threat? Is that it? Because I want to unify people? Because I want to talk about issues? Because I want to actually educate people on politics? That's all y'all want to do is come in here and try and ruin everybody's attempt to do something that is productive. And then you wonder why people don't want to work with Trump supporters or all these other people. I can unplug. I unplug all the time. Karma, but you can go ahead and assume. Oh, it's one of these trolls. Let's see. Put them on timeout.
That was targeted at Mexican Americans and immigrants, inspired in
Bye.
See? Racism and hatred that he's directed at communities of mine and others. So I expect
it's real. It's real enough for me to get rid of them.
The same way that we enforce any provision, any law that we have right now. We don't
Fake news, CNN. See, all these trolls are coming in. Let's just remove them. It's just me and Cheeseburger and Ninja right now. Trump is king.
Just to follow up, your expectations aside, your website says you.
Well, Trump is king. I mean, what's wrong with us all discussing? You don't have anything to educate us on. Bye.
Exactly how are you going to take away weapons from people who do not want to give them up?
Hey, salute from Boston.
If someone does not turn in an AR-15 or AK-47, one of these weapons of war.
Is it really wrong for me to try and unify people? I mean, everybody's calling me a liberal and they don't even know what my politics are.
Then that weapon will be taken from them. If it persists, there will be other consequences from law enforcement. But the expectation is that Americans will follow the law. I believe in this country.
Maybe we're just people. Maybe we're Americans. What happened to that? No, everybody wants to come in and divide you and label you. I actually was talking about Republicans having different candidates. I wasn't just talking about Democrats. We barely even paid attention to what these people are even talking about. They're just...
We can have a debate about it, but we can't wait. People are dying in the streets right now. We can't wait for
talking the same stuff.
We finally have a shot to actually get through.
Are we American
need to ban
first?
The sale of new weapons.
I think we are human beings
So we
first.
don't wind up with millions more of these things on the street.
American
We
is,
can't wait for red flag laws that are going to
it's
disarm
citizenship,
domestic abusers
it's,
and prevent suicides, which
it's
are
our
not being
country,
talked about
and I would
nearly
love
enough
for
as
us
a
to be
huge
more
part of the gun
unified.
violence epidemic in this country. We cannot wait
We've probably
for
never been
tests. We have
truly
to just
unified,
get
though.
something done.
As a matter of fact, I wouldn't say probably, we haven't.
This is a country
And that's the big issue. But in certain contexts, we have. And I think that if we had a national emergency, we would find a way to work together. We would have to.
Not mutually exclusive to the challenges that I'm describing. I want to make sure we have.
I'm not sure what what happened to tech.
And the sale of
Hi.
these weapons more, but to use the analogy of healthcare, it would be as though we said, look, we're for primary care.
Okay,
let's not
Trump,
talk
my
about
love.
this.
I'm the biggest
That's
fan,
a bridge
biggest
too far.
Donald Trump
People
fan
leave
girl.
that
That's
primary
cool.
care now.
As
So
long
let's
as you're
take
not
that
coming
for
in here
another
with
day.
hate, I
Let's
don't care if
decide
you're a
what
Trump
we are
supporter.
going to
It's
believe,
fine.
what we are going to achieve.
The
And let's
debate
bring this country
started,
together in
Greg,
order to do
at
that.
5
Let's
o'clock,
send my
so
fellow
it's
Americans,
almost
those
probably
who want to
over.
demand action, to those
It's been going on
students
for
who
an
want
hour and a
for our
half.
lives, who in fact
It's
came
on
up with this
CNN.
extraordinary
I'm pretty sure there's some live streams on it. We've been trying to talk about the issues. So far, they have talked about.
And the consultants and the focus groups. Let's
Mayor
do what's
Buttigieg,
right
your
while we have
response.
time to do what's right.
Mayor Buttigieg?
The problem isn't the polls, the problem is the policy. And I don't need lessons from you on courage, political or personal. Everyone on this stage is determined.
Buttigieg and Beto are going after it right now. Hi,
Hi,
Tech.
recognizes, or at least I thought we did, that the problem.
Okay, too many highs. You gotta slow it down. Otherwise, I'm gonna get rid of you too. Okay.
The problem is
You're
the
doing too
National
much.
Rifle Association and their enablers.
Bye.
And we should be united in taking the fight to that.
That's a mischaracterization. And
Oh my gosh.
never
Hello.
on who disagrees
The
with
internet is full of
But when you-
very strange people.
Mayor Buttigieg, describe this
Like,
policy
they say-
as a shiny object.
I don't have
I don't care what
that I should be wasting my time, but they're telling me this
but
as
to
they're
those who have survived
doing all this
violence,
weird stuff on my
those who
chat.
lost a
Like,
loved
you
one
guys
to
spent
AR-15
all this time to do this. This is
marched
crazy.
for our lives, formed in the courage
I don't even know
to
what these
join
guys
the
are
stand
arguing,
up to the
going
NRA
back and forth.
and conventional
Oh,
politics
NRA,
and
guns.
protested politicians.
What does everybody?
Slap in the face
Hey,
every single
cheeseburger,
one of
don't
those
you
every
start,
single
okay?
survivor
That's
of an
enough.
encounter with an AR-15 and an AK-47. We must buy them back.
Anybody got any opinions on our current state of
Because this is really important.
the gun debate right now? Because that's what they're talking about.
To actually do things, and congressmen and
The only thing we've gotten agreement with everybody is that they don't like war or intervening with countries or spending a ton of money with military budget. Nobody has said anything about education. We've had education, daycare. Right now, we're talking about the NRA.
Deliver healthcare to everybody, and some of the stage is saying it doesn't count.
Senator
Unless we
Booker,
have literally.
I want to give other candidates
No,
a chance.
nothing.
Senator Booker, what's your response to Mayor Buttigieg?
I don't have a problem with people owning guns. I have a problem with people
I again worry about how we talk to each other and about each other.
having assault rifles that were meant for the military.
Young man in my neighborhood
That never
watched
should have
him
gone
go up
through.
in some
But
high-rise projects with a name Shahad, and
in the name of
he was
somebody
murdered on my block last
profiting,
year
it
with an
did.
assault rifle.
We did talk a lot about
Urgency on this block
capitalism.
because when I go home to my community, like millions of Americans, we live in communities where these weapons, where these gunshots are real every single day.
You have nightmares about Trump? That's terrible, cheeseburger. I don't dream about Trump at all, ever.
Talk about things like gun licensing and point out the difference.
You gotta find a way to
I'm not
just.
attacking people or their character or their
You're not gonna
courage.
meet him.
We all have
You don't have to
courage.
worry about that.
It's frustrating that when the American people, 70,
I think it is symbolic, though, that you worry about your
licensing,
future
we don't need
and the
leadership
future of
right
this
now.
country.
We just need folks that are gonna
And
stand
that
up and
is-
follow where the people already are.
That's
because they're
pretty
all
tragic.
millions of
We need.
Americans.
It's not
This
your
is
fault
a
that we're in this
nightmare
situation right
for
now.
surrendering our freedoms to feed
Yeah,
this
amendment
country. This is
to
the
right to
first
bear
time
arms.
in American history. This
They also say that that amendment
sent our children to school, the strongest
wasn't
nation on the
meant
planet
for
Earth.
really for
They said
everybody
that we
to
can't protect
have a gun. And you have to remember when those amendments were made, they only believed that white men had rights. And it was really to maintain the right of property,
Senator Warren,
including slaves,
voluntary, Senator
but particularly property,
voluntary buyback.
and to also prevent,
is wrong with a mandatory buyback?
say,
Your response.
tyranny of the government, or you know,
finally getting something done on this.
or say
Looking at the mayor
if there was
I know one of the
someone who,
survivors,
you know, back then
from that
you're talking about, we didn't have most of the states, the territory of the free land was huge, you know. It just, it's not meant to be for semi-automatic weapons, you know. That amendment was never meant for that.
Hunters want to see us
Shall not be
with gun safety
infringed.
legislation. There are 3 bills right now on Mitch McConnell's desk.
Hey, I mean, it's fine if you all want these semi-automatic military guns in the hands of people that
don't get guns. The bill to make it easier
want to
for
shoot at the
police
whole
to
public.
vet people before they get a gun. That's what we should be focusing on. And I just don't want to screw this up.
But
Madam
I don't
President,
think
I do
there's
wanna
any way
recommend
they
an
can
assault
take
weapon ban.
everybody's
And
gun.
I do want to
I don't
put a
think that's
limitation
gonna
on
happen.
magazines, so what happened in Dayton, Ohio will
It's
never
too
happen
late.
again.
We have
But
more guns
let's
than we
not
have
mess
people in this
up
country. It's
with
kind of
this
sad.
act.
Senator Warren, you support a voluntary gun buyback of assault
Thank you,
weapons
Karma.
as well. Why not a mandatory one?
So, look, I want to get what works done. I want to use the method we use.
Well, I know they're being sarcastic, but I'm gonna say I think that I only get smarter every minute.
And we let people come in and it got the
I
guns
see.
out of the hands.
Should I get rid of Karma? Is Karma gonna
The problem here that
behave?
we need to focus on is first how widespread gun violence is.
That's gonna be the big question. Are we actually gonna talk about anything?
About mass shootings? It's what happens in
Like Karma, why don't you
neighborhoods
talk
all
about
across
what you
this
think about the
country. It
NRA
is
and
about
mass
suicide.
shooting?
It is about domestic
Let's talk
violence.
about
This is not
how many
gonna be
people
a
commit
one
suicide,
and done.
especially, you know, if you want to protect white men in particular. White men have the biggest
We have to
suicide
reduce
rate.
gun violence overall,
And
the
it's by
question we
guns.
have to ask is why hasn't it happened?
Every
You
day,
say we're
you do
so
learn something
close.
new.
We have been so close. I stood in the United States Senate.
If
in
you put
2013
regulations on
when
law-abiding
54
citizens, only the
senators
citizens, only the criminals will be armed to the teeth.
of
That there is a
and it didn't pass because of the filibuster.
there is
So we've got to
a
attack the corruption and repeal the filibuster.
I believe that you do have a point there. We have a lot of issues in society that create that criminals and crime. And, you know, as much as we say borderless or whatever, like we have people coming from anywhere committing crime. And we have a whole world that we have to worry about.
During the course of this debate,
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not for taking anybody's guns. I think that if you have a gun though, you should know how to use it, and it should be I mean, like, we have to do more to get a car license and to drive than we do to have a semi-automatic weapon. I think that's the issue right there. Everybody should actually know how to protect themselves properly.
I have looked at more autopsy photographs than I care to tell you. I have attended more police officer funerals than I care to tell you. I'm done. And we need action.
So we
And
have another
Congress
hater
has
in
had
here
years to act and fail
calling me
because
fat,
they
and
do
I'm
not
like, hey,
have the
you know.
courage. When I'm elected, I'll give them 100 days to
You call this fat? Whatever. Eventually quit this killer.
and put in place
And I'm fine with
a
that.
comprehensive background check requirement and ban the importation of assault weapons into our country because it is time.
You live 10 minutes away from this debate? No, Rob, it wouldn't be worth it. I mean, the debate is almost over anyways, and you wouldn't be able to get in. I don't think so. You have a trichotillomania. I don't know what that is. Hi, Jake.
For 10 years. Recent studies show that mass violence went down when that occurred. The way to deal with those guns and those AR-15s and assault weapons that are on the street, are not on the street, that people own, is to do what we did with the National Firearms Act as it related to machine guns. You must register that weapon. You must register.
Okay.
When you register it,
Yeah, it's probably going to end in about 20 minutes. So by the time you get there, it's going to end, or it's almost there. Unless you feel like you can actually get in somehow and talk to people, or you want to engage with people, I don't think it's worth it.
I've done this. I know how to get it done. If you really want to get it done, go after the gun manufacturers and take back the exemption.
I mean, so far they've sounded like confident in this debate. They sound like they know they're pretty well rehearsed on speaking on these subjects. You get, but I'm sorry you
Thank you very
get
much for the question. You know, I grew up in neighborhoods where
bullied
it wasn't uncommon to hear
cheeseburger.
gunshots at night, and I can
For any reason. I've been bullied for a lot of different reasons. We all have our
Across the street
you
from my
know,
school, my public
our
school, because
issues
folks were shooting at
with
each other.
people one way or another being mean to us.
In the neighborhoods, let me answer this question about.
Unfortunately, and then you learn how to just
Don't
don't take it personal, because if somebody is bullying you, it's really something that they're going through where they feel like they want to feel power over you. So don't let them take your power away. Don't give them power over you. That's the best way I could say to deal with it.
Jefferson in Fort Worth. A cop showed up at 2 in the
Yeah,
morning.
well, race is just unfortunately attached to a lot.
He didn't even announce himself, and within 4 seconds, he shot her and killed her through her home window. She was in her own home. And so
Yes, our inherent flaws, Rob.
these police officers another reason to go door to door.
You snuck in and, oh, you, yeah, Yang is over there.
Violence is also gun violence. And we need to address that.
So you're a Yang fan, huh?
Turning to another
I think almost all of these candidates have come to the Bay Area. I think Yang is pretty interesting. I still think that there's a lot I want to. I don't feel like they give everybody a fair amount of chance to talk, so I haven't been able to hear Yang talk too much about all these different issues yet. I noticed that. Like, I haven't seen him up on the screen
I
enough.
have many high school students who have lost one or both parents to heroin. Teachers are on
The Democrat Party does not hate cops. Paparazzi. Let me tell you a little story about Democrat
people in rural communities
mayors who love to talk about
access to jobs
getting more police officers on the streets to stop crime. Libby Schaaf of Oakland does that. Most of our budget goes to the police. So, yeah, to say they don't like police is not right. They love police. That's not gonna work. What you may be getting is that there are people coming into the Democrat Party who are trying to change a lot, and they're putting pressure on the way the police handle things. So there's people that weren't even Democrats that are going into the Democrat Party and now infiltrating it to manipulate it and make it theirs, if that makes sense.
Manufacturing these opioids. That's the first way, and you can't with a 2 cents per
1,000 for us. Well, you know, I saw a meme. So what Rob is talking about is the $1,000 for each person that Yang wants to give, and there was this meme that showed, you know, like somebody happy that they had $1,000. It was actually, no, it was the Joker walking down the stairs with $1,000, and then there was like another Joker, and it said the landlord raising your rent $1,000. There is a problem here. Just because you get extra thousand doesn't mean that there won't be somebody who be like, ooh, I know how to gaffle the citizens out of that thousand, and it's gonna go on me.
I believe that everyone in this country, including the people.
Paparazzi says CNN was exposed with undercover video. They don't like Yang. They are promoting Elizabeth Warren. I don't know. I don't know CNN specifically. I see them giving, and in all the other news outlets, Joe Biden the most airtime. And I think what it is that they go with who has the most support, because they like ratings, they like views, so people are interested in somebody they already know. And that's kind of why a lot of these stations are behind the ball, these news people are behind the ball on what the people want, because they will follow what was popular yesterday, and they won't pay attention to the movement of what's going on today that will affect the future. Alright, here we go. Let's see. We got a whole bunch of comments. Why do the throw on water and attack them outside Trump rallies? I don't know who was throwing water at Trump rallies, but Trump supporters are not sugar. They're not going to melt. So it's going to be okay. Trump supporters, if you haven't noticed, we're just being miserable and wanting me to pretty much get attacked by rattlesnakes, bears, call me fat, all kinds of things. Don't be surprised when people start getting sick and throw water of all things. Like, water's not going to kill you. You'll be okay. Politicians are the only people in the world who create problems. and then campaign against them. Have you ever wondered if both the Democrats and Republicans are against deficits?
In the state of Ohio that human beings.
Well, that's actually a good comment, Ray. Do I think they're against deficits? There may be some, but I think that they have allowed way too much spending, and the issue is that they have lobbyists and people, and really what it is the money in politics. They only get elected based on money. That's how they see it, and then they get these payouts. And oh, Yang is on TV right now. Hold on. How would Yang's proposal to decriminalize possession use the small amounts of opiates solve the crisis?
Let them know that they're not going to be referred to a prison cell. They will be referred to treatment and counseling. I talked to an
treatment and counseling. That's a good one. Thank you.
He saves the same addicts over and over again. Because the fact is, after you save someone who's ODing, you just bring them back to their house and they OD again the following week.
Opiate crisis. Let's talk about that for a second.
We have to let the country know this is not a personal failing. This was a systemic government failing. And then we need to open up safe consumption and safe injection
But I have
sites
to
around
agree with
the
you.
country
If they were against deficits, why would we have them?
Congressman
It's because we've been in too many excessive wars that cost a lot of money.
Yes, it is, for many of the reasons that Mr.
Thank you,
Yang just
paparazzi.
described.
I love you back.
Also, just from
I
some
don't have a
personal
problem with
experiences I've
Republicans,
had as a
trust
member
me.
of Congress,
I've actually
where
known
constituents of mine have come
Republicans that were
forward, in some
cool.
cases publicly, at a town hall meeting to describe
You
their
and I don't
addictions.
like the
I remember a
Congress
veteran
does.
telling me that he bought heroin off the street because he was
Yeah, you're
originally
right.
prescribed an opioid at the VA. Now imagine that veteran, instead of being
Look at
prescribed an
this.
opioid,
Somebody,
had been prescribed
I hope
marijuana
Jesus
because we
is
made that
schooling
legal
everybody.
in
This is a
America,
good one.
ensured the VA could prescribe it.
Hey,
Sponsor
cheeseburger.
arrest records for those who've been
It's a
arrested for
point.
possession, and
Do
make
you
sure
understand
that
what
he
a
was not
deficit
prescribed
is?
something
We
to
spend.
which he would become
Okay, cheeseburger.
addicted.
I'm sorry you have to go.
Until we
Thank you
hold
for
those
coming in.
responsible accountable for their actions, Purdue Pharma, Johnson & Johnson, we're going to continue to have this problem going on again. So that veteran that I met, and anyone with drug addiction today, is not a problem for the criminal justice system. They are an opportunity for our public health system.
Senator Harris, you want
Look
to
at
hold
this.
the
Somebody
drug
is really.
manufacturers,
Look at this.
that fueled the crisis accountable.
You're
Are you
on
in
top
favor
of it.
Sending those
I agree
drug
with you.
executives to jail?
Bye. Have a good night.
And I will tell you, as a former prosecutor, I do think of this as being a matter of justice and accountability, because they are nothing more than some high-level dope dealers. They have been engaged. And I've seen it happen before. I've taken on
Intersectionality is
when I was
6 degrees
Attorney
from
General of
Kevin
California,
Bacon.
led the
Okay.
second largest Department of Justice. I've
Are
seen
you in
what
favor
they
of
do.
sending drug
biggest
company
pharmaceutical
executives to
companies,
prison
the
to
eight
hold them
biggest
accountable
pharmaceutical
for the
companies and
opiate
insurance
crisis?
companies last year
Well, this is
costed
specific.
$72
I
billion
really want to focus on
the
how we
backs
fix the
of
opiate.
people like the families
And I
that
would
we're
love
talking
for
about
the
that
companies
have
to
been
pay for
overwhelmed
it.
by this crisis,
The
which
ones
is a
that
public
did.
health
I'm
epidemic.
not so
And
concerned
they
with
knew what they
putting
were
everybody in
They
prison
were marketing
because we're trying to do
false
prison
good
reform.
advertising.
I
They
think
knew
I
what they
hope
were
that Jesus
pushing in
has a
communities in
has
states like
a very
Ohio,
good point about the
without
deficit,
any
about
concern
the
about
policies that
repercussions
Congress has
because they
been
were
doing,
profiting and making big
and
bucks.
this
And
is
yes,
stuff that
they
has
should
been
be
going
held
on for
accountable. This
decades
is a
and
matter
decades and
of
decades.
justice. And so, as president
When
of the
Bill
United
Clinton
States,
was
I would
president,
ensure that
that
the
was the
United
only
States
time we
Department
didn't
of
have
Justice
deficit.
understand that
That I
you
know
want
of,
to deal
that I
with
remember in
who
my
is really a
lifetime.
criminal.
And then all of a
Let's
sudden we
end
have this
massive
huge
frustration and
deficit,
that
and it is a
war
problem.
on drugs, and let's go over after these pharmaceutical companies
We pretty
for
much
what
owe a
they've
ton of
been
money.
doing to destroy our country
And we're
in
just
states
spending
like
it and spending it
Ohio.
and
Thank you,
spending it.
Senator.
And we're
Secretary
spending it
Castro,
wastefully.
Are you in favor of sending those
And I
drug
think it's
company
terrible because
executives
it's our
to
tax
prison?
money
Please
and our
respond.
and that means the future, the young people like Cheeseburger who's on here is going to have.
Criminal penalties. And you can draw a straight line between making
Yeah,
sure
regardless
that
of party.
we
Thank
hold
you. Somebody
executives
actually come
accountable,
in
whether
here
it's
and
these
not
drug
label us all
manufacturers
as
or Wall Street
liberals or
executives that
go
should have been held
after
accountable for a decade
Democrats
and
or
a
go
half
after Republicans. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. We are all humans. We should be taking responsibility for ourselves, and we should be working together to deal with these problems. We should be holding all of these politicians accountable. And as long as we're going at each other over labels and race and
Senator Sanders
you know,
is in favor of medical marijuana. I want to make sure that's clear as well.
who's in favor of who, we're never going to get to the root of the problem. Because we're looking at each other, we're not looking at them, the people that are holding that are making the policies that have created the problems that we have today.
But Kamala and Corey and others have said.
So
Let's
thank
take a
you,
deep breath.
regardless of
Take a look at
party.
this opioid epidemic. You have executives CEOs of major pharmaceutical companies
Oh, what
making
happened?
tens of
Why
millions
did it
of
get
dollars a year.
retracted?
And in this particular case with the opioids, they knew that they
Why
were
is there
selling
a-
a product to communities
All
all
those
over
messages
this
are
country,
gone? What
which
happened?
were addicting people and killing them. And last year, the top 10 drug companies made
Oh, wow. They were good
$69
messages.
million in profit. This is what unfettered capitalism is doing to this country. And it's not just
And I thank
the
you
drug companies.
for
Right
finally
now, the
coming in and
CEOs
talking
in the
about
fossil
something.
fuel industry know full well that their product is destroying this world, and they continue to make huge profits. That is why we need a political revolution that
Thank you,
says
Senator.
enough is enough to this behavior.
Senator, we are all very glad you're feeling well, as you just said.
Oh, they're gonna start talking
But
about
there is a
themselves.
question on a lot of people's minds, and I want to address it tonight. You're
Gonna talk
78
about-
years old and you just had a heart attack. How do you reassure Democratic voters that you're up to the stress of the presidency?
Does anybody have a problem with a 78-year-old president?
A major rally we're having in Queens, New York.
Most of these presidents are presidential candidates are
We're gonna
like,
have a special guest
well, many of
at
them
that
are in their
event.
70s.
And we are going to be mounting a vigorous campaign all over this country.
Bernie
That
Sanders
how
is,
I think
yeah,
I can
they just
reassure
said he's
the
78.
American people. But let me take this moment, if I might.
And
to
if
thank
he
so
becomes
many
president,
people
that's 4 years,
from
and then
all over the
hopefully
country,
another
including
4
many of
years.
my
That's 8
colleagues
years,
here
because
for
you
their
need
love,
8 years to
for
actually
their
make a full
prayers, for their
impact as a
well
president.
wishes. And I just want
So by the time he's done, yeah, Trump's 72. And Joe Biden is also in his 70s. Elizabeth Warren is actually
If you're
older
elected,
than I
you
thought
will turn
too.
80 during your first term.
I forgot how
Last
old
month,
she is.
former President Jimmy Carter said he could not
Yeah.
have undertaken the duties of the presidency at 80 years old.
When
Why are you so sure that you can?
Because
80
I
years old.
watched it, I know what the job is, I've been
80
engaged.
years old.
Look,
This job
one of the
is
reasons I'm
so
running is because of
taxing
my
on you.
age and
Do
my
you
experience.
remember how
When it
Obama
comes
looked when he first started
with-
versus when he left?
We need someone to take office this
Let's
time
just think
around,
about this.
who
Somebody
on
who's
day one can stand on the
Jimmy
world
Carter
stage
says he couldn't have
command
handled the
respect
presidency
of
at
world
80.
leaders
Is
from
Biden
Putin to
sure
our
he can,
allies,
since he
and know
turned 80 in
exactly
his first
what
term?
has to
That
be done
is
to
a
get
good
this
point.
country back on track. It is
When my
required
grandparents
now
turned
more than
80,
any
they couldn't
time
drive
in
anymore.
any of our lifetimes.
All of their
And
functions
someone
started
who
to
has
stop.
that
This is
capacity
natural. This is
on
just the way it
day
is.
one.
Like
That's one of the
after
reasons
70,
why I decided
things start to
run.
really go
Why I
downhill.
decided to run this time because of I know what has to be
Nancy
done. I've done
Pelosi,
it before. I've been there when we pulled the nation out of the worst financial recession in history. I've been there and I've
What
got
happened
so
to all
many
your
pieces of
messages?
legislation passed, including the Affordable Care Act, as well as making sure that we had the Recovery Act, which kept us from going into depression. I know what has to be done. I will not need any on-the-job training the day I take office. And I will release my
I mean,
medical
that's
records as I
true.
have
Joe
21
Biden would
years
know
of my
exactly what
tax
to do.
record.
That means
No
he'd
one
be
else on this stage has done
88.
it.
I mean, look
So
at
that you
Ruth.
can have full transparency as to my health and
Is
what
in
I
her
do.
Just to be clear,
that
Mr.
court
Vice President,
justice.
when will
We
you
just
release
keep
those
propping her
records?
up and
Before the first
hoping
vote.
she survives. That's
Before
just,
Iowa.
Yes.
this poor
Not
woman
by
can't
your
retire.
Well, before Iowa, I mean, look, I've released them before. I mean, I released 55 pages of mine. I'm the only guy that's released anything up here.
Senator Warren, like Senator Sanders and Vice President Biden, if you win the presidency, you would be the oldest president ever inaugurated in a first term. You would be 71. 40% of Democratic primary voters say they think
Elizabeth Warren would be 71. She actually looks really good for her
What
age,
do you say
though.
to that?
Well, I say I will outwork,
I don't know what she's doing, but I
outorganize,
need to
and
keep on track.
outlast anyone, and that includes Donald
Tax the
Trump.
taxes?
That's what the Republicans get stuck with. Look,
I don't know how you tax the taxes.
the way I see this, the way we're gonna win
Taxes,
is by
beers, Mickey
addressing
cries,
head
taxes,
on what
tears.
millions of Americans know in their bones. And that is that the wealthy and the well-connected have captured our democracy. And they're making
We got a
it
nice
work
little poem
for
going on about
themselves and
taxes
leaving
right now.
everyone else behind. And political pundits and Washington insiders and people in our own party don't want to admit that. They think that running some kind of vague campaign that nibbles around the edges of big problems in this country is a winning strategy. They are wrong. If all Democrats can promise is after Donald Trump, it will be business as usual, then we will lose. Democrats win when we call out what's broken and we show how to fix it. Democrats will win when we fight for the things that touch people's lives, things like child care and health care and housing costs. Democrats will win when we give people a reason to get in the fight.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you're 38 years old, and you would be the youngest president if elected. Should age matter when choosing a president?
I'm glad you asked, because I was going to say it's not fair to ask.
I think this might be the last question because
about
it's almost
their
7.
health and their fitness to serve as president, but not every other one of
And
us.
people are dropping off like flies
I
all
am
of a sudden.
grateful to
There was
been
at
trained
least 10
very well
people
by the
watching,
Army and
which was
do
cool.
my best to stay in shape.
But it is
Here's the
getting
real
late.
question I believe you
So
should
I
be
might
asking is,
end
who
this
is
now.
fit to serve as our commander-in-chief? This is the
'Cause I
most
haven't even had
important
dinner yet.
responsibility that the president has. What Donald Trump has been doing
But I thank
in
everybody
Syria
for,
and what we have just seen with him inviting
joining
Turkey
us.
to come in and slaughter the Kurds
Um,
show what an unfit president looks like. It highlights how critical it is that we have a president commander-in-chief who's
I don't know
ready
that
on
age
day
should
one,
matter. I
bringing
think health should
experience
matter.
and understanding in foreign policy and national security.
Darnell, where have you been?
Bringing the experience that I have, both serving in Congress now for nearly 7 years.
I wonder
serving on
what
the
happened to the
Foreign Affairs
person who
Committee,
asked me to
serving
show
on the
my
Armed
bare
Services
feet.
Committee,
Like, where'd you
subcommittees
go?
related to,
As soon as I said I wasn't doing it, you
terrorism
left.
and
What's up with that?
threats, serving on the Homeland Security Committee. The
Internet
experience
is
that
a
I have
weird
as a
place,
soldier,
let me tell you.
serving for over
YouTube
60
is no
years in
exception.
the Army National Guard, deploying twice to the Middle East,
I
being
might
able
just sit
to
here and let,
serve in different capacities, joint training exercises,
We
training
got
the
this
Kuwait
tax
National
phone
Guard.
going
I
on.
understand the importance of our national security. I am prepared to do this job, to fulfill this responsibility as Commander-in-Chief on day one. I'd like to ask our other candidates this question. I'd like to start with Senator Warren. What her
Congresswoman,
experience and background is.
I'm sorry, thank
to
you.
serve
We're
as
going to take another
Commander-in-Chief.
break now. The CNN New York Times debate live from Otterbein University here in Ohio.
You don't ask the
We'll be back
questions.
in just a few moments.
They're still gonna debate. Oh my gosh. I'm not doing this for 3 hours. I'm sorry. Alright. You guys,
Now a special look at Ford versus
I thank those of you who actually participated in talking about politics. I thank those of you who didn't label people, who actually wanted to talk about the issues. There weren't that many of you, but I do thank you for being involved. And I even think that Trump supporters who came in and wanted to jump in, and you know, there was one, paparazzi is cool. Paparazzi has not insulted anybody or done anything. There's a Republican in here. They acted very civil. There are people in here that are Democrats. There are people in here that didn't like Trump, and they acted very civil. There's just a bunch of trolls for Trump that came in here and were very nasty, and it's just, I let some of it slide because it's like, this is what we deal with in politics these days. This is how things go. So, you know, unfortunately that's how it is. So, anyways, I thank you all for participating. We have somebody who likes Tulsi. We had a few Yang Gang people in here. A lot of people like Andrew Yang. I think that Andrew Yang has some interesting things to talk about. Nobody talked about Julian Castro. But what I do like about him is his interest in housing. Because I think housing is a human right that we should be able to work on in a day. Neon Cons won the debate, maybe. We didn't even have any Sanders fans. Usually we have somebody for Sanders, but we have a Tulsi fan. We had a fan for Putin. That was interesting. Yeah, so, you know, but so far what I'm seeing is there's not an energized group of people that are like, this is my candidate, other than the Trump bots, which I don't even know if they're really real. It's really hard to tell because they just keep saying the same thing over and over again, and try and tell me that I should not be on here. The Trump trolls are lefties trying to cause trouble and division. I don't know that they're lefties or righties or whatever they are. I don't think they're really into that, to politics. I think they really are just causing division and trouble. but they didn't talk about any politics at all. Like, how can you say that you are left on your political beliefs or right on your political beliefs when you never talk about politics in the first place? When you don't do anything other than hate on people or label people or call people names. I can't even say that you are for anything at that point. You're not for anything other than spreading hate. Thank you. Thank you, Jerome. I hope I said your name right. Russia is now in Syria. Russia is is definitely on the move on a lot of things. Yeah, I don't think, well, the Trump and Pence can't handle Syria, so they left. And why did they leave? Because Russia wanted them to. I mean, that's just from what I noticed, it seems like. I'm not really, because Russia jumped in there as soon as, as Turkey started attacking. So there's got to be some sort of coincidence. And then on top of that, Trump is going to have he has some sort of deal with Turkey for one of his buildings. He's been trying to get a Trump hotel in Russia. All of that kind of coincides. We definitely need a smart mind. Thank you. Oh, ADOS person. Well, I think that's just one specific issue, Darnell. Don't you have any other issues that you're interested in? I think that we should have a way, like, to me, reparations is when you uplift all the people that have not had a fair shake out here, have systematically been kept from benefiting in the system while other people have been systematically uplifted. So education and all those things would be great. But I think that is, more into a lot of issues, Like, you can't just be one issue person, because politics, all these issues tie together. Housing, education, childcare, the opioid and drug, all sorts of issues with drugs. When we have crime issues, we talk about crime. Why does crime happen? Because people don't have a proper education. They don't have any kind of productive means to make money, so they turn to crime. And then they all, you're worried about those people having guns, or the people that have been doing mass shootings. Why do they have mass shootings? We claim it's mental health, but really a lot of the people are isolated and they're being radicalized on the internet. So, and a lot of them, that's where a lot of the racism comes in. Certain demographics are being attacked. All of these things come together. So if you talk about education and daycare and everything, that uplifts everybody, everyone. I think everybody needs that. Yeah, we are in trouble in the USA, that's for sure. The black vote is very important for Democrats. I think they've taken it for granted way too long, because the thing is that there were people in here earlier that were saying Democrats are racist and they're the true racist party, and I'm like, a lot of, especially black women, have gone into politics and really gone into the Democratic Party and tried to change it a lot. And that's not news. That's been happening for decades. You just want cash payments? For what? How does that help? Just cash payments? What if they say, well, we can only give $300 to each person? Wouldn't you rather education for every future generation? Wouldn't you rather affordable housing? Wouldn't you rather, instead of gentrification pushing out people in the neighborhood, those neighborhoods being fixed in a way so that people can survive and strive and flourish? Like, just giving out cash, what are they going to do with the cash? What are you going to do with the cash? You think that you're going to get, you really think that you're going to convince everybody to just pass out a ton of money to every single descendant of a slave? And then on top of that, that means that those people would have to prove that they were descendants of slaves. How would you do that? It sounds like a complicated dream to just have cash. And I mean, I agree that reparations should have happened a long time ago. But I mean, supposedly they were giving reparations to, you know, Native Americans, and see how that worked. They were supposed to get education, and then all of a sudden there was white people claiming they're a certain part of Native American, and that was going to those people. I think we need to make sure that all of society is leveled. If we're just giving out cash, how is that cash going to be spent? It's going to be spent into what? If you, I'm telling you, like, you really think that people are going to give out what? What's the money going to be? Is it going to be $300? Is it going to be $20? Is that going to? Oh, here you go. That's the worth of back in, you know, back in 1875 or something, you know, of reparations. Like, I don't know. I'm just being honest. I don't think that that's really going to happen. You could fight for it, but you got to remember that African American population is what, 9 to 11% in the country, and you have to get the rest of the percentage of the country to be like backing of whatever it is that you're asking for. If it's isolated to just a specific demographic and you're not even sure how the law is going to be written, and you're not even sure if it's going to actually benefit every single person, and they have to actually prove and do all this documentation and stuff, like, not everybody can even prove that, let alone, and it sounds stupid because you could be like, well, obviously I'm black, but that's not going to be good enough, because they're going to be like, well, you know, they're going to find ways to go around that. I'm telling you, it's just, there's too many loopholes that can go wrong with that. Just giving out cash, it's just too many things that can go. What, when the new got cash, you didn't question it? Oh, when Jews got cash, they didn't question it. I'm not sure. How much cash did they get? What they did with DNA testing could be, you know, it's quite a bit. You don't believe that there should be education for all. Like, that in itself, if you actually went to black neighborhoods and prevented gentrification, instead of having gentrification, which is what they do to improve the neighborhood, is just push people out and then bring in money so they don't actually have to invest in the neighborhood. Wouldn't it be better to invest in the neighborhood, or to invest in making sure that generations are set with education? That would actually even cost more, but if it's as a group, as a country, we all had this benefit and everything was a playing field, that just makes more sense to me. You know, you still haven't told me how much cash you think everybody would want. You know, do you even know how they would spend the cash? Like, no, it's just free, let's just give cash. Like, yeah, I don't know. Got you, Darnell. I appreciate you putting in your input. But it's just kind of like Yang saying, you know, I'm just going to give each person $1,000. The whole country. Everybody getting reparations there. For what? And his topic is, it makes sense, you know, in a way, but there's ways where people are, because we are in this capitalist society that is so extreme, there's ways that people are going to find ways to take that cash right out of your hands. I just don't trust it. It's not that I don't think that, you know, there should be reparations. I totally think that there should be reparations. I just think it has to be well thought out of how it is, and you have to think of how people will manipulate that system and take advantage of it, and the people that should be getting it probably won't even end up getting it. Somehow, some way, will it benefit everybody for the long run? Will it make everything equalized? Because what you're talking about, it's almost like a tax refund. You know, I remember when Bush first came into office and he kept on giving us all $500 here and there. That was great, and then they just ended up taxing us. They ended up like getting rid of all kinds of things, and at the end of the day, my life was way worse than getting that $500 check. It just wasn't that helpful. So you got to think of everything. But anyways, thank you for doing it. Yeah, everything does boil down to money.
You did not agree, and I would urge you to join me, because here we have Donald Trump, who has 65 million Twitter followers.
Okay, I think Jehovah Jesus is doing a little too much now. You're telling them to not pay taxes. You don't have a choice. The government can just take the money out of your check. How are you going to just stop that? You can't. That doesn't even make sense. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Yang has a good policy on opiates. He is talking about taxing big companies, and I think that that's a good point. That's all I'm saying is, like, it's not that the $1,000 doesn't work, because he's saying that that would boost the economy, and it would help every average American lift up. I mean, $1,000 for all of us would, if it's each person, that means my daughters would each get $1,000. I would get $1,000. That would lift us up $3,000 in our household. That would be amazing in the Bay Area. That would help us with our rent and all this stuff. Now, if he's including regulations to prevent, you know, landlords from ripping us off on top of that and saying, hey, I'm going to just charge you more on your rent, or, you know, this and that, then, you know, it would probably work a lot better. But it all does come down to money. And that's the thing about our federal government and our tax system, is we are pulling our money together. We are trying to build a system that makes us more powerful and stronger and protects ourselves. And this actually even comes down to just human nature. If we want to survive, ever since like the dawn of our time, we have grouped get together, because if we were individuals, we would be hunted down by bears and rattlesnakes, say, okay? We wouldn't survive. We have a better chance of survival when we group together, when we pull our resources together, and when we work together to say, hey, I don't want any part of that, just leave me alone. You guys handle your business, you guys handle your business. I mean, that's going to weaken us. You know, only people that have privilege can say that.
We all have to agree, this is their power. It is immense. Senator,
you think Yang wouldn't pass the regulations? Yeah, $3,000. Oh, I'm thinking about that right now. Whew. I could actually get a decent place to live, but I don't think that it should cost me $5,000 for rent for a decent place to live, though, right? That in itself doesn't even make sense. I mean, at the same time, also, when you talk about landlords, we're talking about corporate landlords. That's totally different than regular landlords. And I actually have seen a lot of tenants ruin places and cost landlords a lot of money. So that is a topic in itself that I think should be discussed as well, is how people treat the property that they live in, especially if they don't own it. I think it's messed up when you tear up a place and treat it like, you know, a dirt bomb, like you don't ever take care of it. I don't know. People weren't raised right. All right. Well, you're selling me more on Yang. He's a very interesting candidate. I think that they should take him a little more seriously. I think Yang is a very interesting candidate.
We got more competition there. The prices went down in a big way in the long distance market. Well, right now we have another Gilded Age going on, and I am the lead Democrat on the anti-trust amendment. I have the lead legislation, which means, one, changing the standard.
Yeah, that's
to do a better job of doing just what we've been talking about here, is breaking down some of this consolidation.
I think that if you wanted something that was very, very difficult to have passed, you have to have a majority of the public. That's why I was talking about the Oto's reparations. If it's only benefiting 9% or 11% of the public, let's face it, the public should acknowledge the fact that slavery happened, and not only did slavery happen, but Jim Crow and decades afterwards of civil rights abuses happened to the African American community. So there should be something that takes place in that. But if you say, well, only this percent is going to benefit and the rest of the public is going to pay, there's so many people that are like, well, I wasn't the one that did slavery, even though, you know, let's just face it, there's people that benefited from racism quite greatly, and they're doing very well, and they don't want to not do well. They like their lifestyle. They don't want to pay taxes for other people, though. That's what it comes down to. That's the big fight. Like what you were saying, it all comes down to money. There are so many people that don't want to pay taxes for education at all. Oh, I'm not having kids. Why should I have to pay for the school down the street from me? Well, because you don't want those kids running these streets and committing crimes. They need to be educated. They need to have a productive life, so they're not running around shooting people and dealing drugs or being on drugs. I mean, it's just simple. But you want this individualized society where only you benefit and you don't have to pay taxes, and you take these roads, and if a fire happened, you're going to have that publicly paid fire department come and rescue you, and if you're robbed, you're going to have that publicly funded tax police department come and rescue you, but you don't want to pay taxes. Oh, you don't want to pay taxes, but you want the military protecting you.
For any state that passes a law that violates the
Cheeseburger's back.
in a particular Roe v. Wade, our department.
Yeah, see, different people do, but those different people, no matter what the politics is, if public pressure was so huge, they would vote for whatever we want. We just have to unify into what we want. If we want $1,000 cash given to us, if we want education, if we want all those things, we're gonna get it. These politicians are nobody without us. They're nobody without us. And that's why it's important to be in politics, because involved in it or involved in the process, because there are people that are involved in the process and they don't want you to have anything. They don't want to pay taxes for anything, and they will take everything away from the person that isn't involved. That's how it works. And the politicians are going to go with whoever is supporting them. I mean, these politicians were picked and chosen to be politicians for a reason, because they knew they could be pushed into the direction that a group of people wanted. That's how it works.
It is her body, it is her right, it is her decision.
Senator Harris, thank you.
But how much can you change about $1,000 a month? How much can you change $1,000 a month per? Is it per family or per person? A lot of people would do it per person. They would find a way to do their head of household or whatever. How would that happen if my daughters who were 20 each got $1,000 and I got $1,000? That's $3,000 accumulated extra in my household, and that would pretty much keep us.
That is exactly what the Alabama law is. It put doctors.
I hate when she puts her butt in my face.
Years.
That would.
Are not on the side of women.
I mean, you might say it never happened, but
this country, when over 75% of people want to keep Roe v. Wade on the book, when over 90% of people want to make sure we have available contraception, you defunded Planned Parenthood. I would fund it again.
okay. So now, Jesus is coming in with BS. That's funny, because you were fine before, then you deleted those comments, so now we're going to
on one of the most
get rid of
sacrosanct
you.
ideals in our country, liberty, the ability to control your own body.
You're gone.
But there are particularly another example of people.
Because I really don't like when people try and play that stuff. That's not cool.
Because this is disproportionately affecting low-income women in this country. People in
Don't come in with all that.
It is an assault on the most fundamental.
Cheeseburger, thank you.
Should control their own bodies.
Tell your mom I said hi, and I respect her, because you know what? She's raising a good. I don't know if you're a son or a daughter or who you are, but you are smart. And you know more about politics than a lot of people. And the fact that you care about this world, I know it hurts, I know it's hard, but it's just a wonderful thing. You're going to be in a great place in life. You're a girl. Right on. I love that. Not that I don't like guys too, or non-binary. I have friends who are non-binary too. It's really hard for me to be like they, them, they, but I'm getting used to it. I respect it.
Political weapon. I agree.
What failed in Finland? You think Biden carried? Oh, Jesus. That Jesus person. I got rid of them. I don't know what they were talking about.
We see how the consequences of laws that you're referring to can often lead
The
to
free
dangerous
income
precedents we've
experiment
seen
in
past
Finland
other
failed.
countries where a woman who has a
But Finland,
miscarriage
as a country overall, has great education and a lot of things, so it actually is doing very well.
Do you ever think that there
But
should be some restrictions in place? I support codifying Roe v. Wade.
some of these countries that are taking care of their citizens better, like, what's the point of paying taxes if your country doesn't take care of the citizens that pay the taxes?
Thank you very much.
What's the point?
Supreme Court is currently made up of 5 Republican-appointed justices and 4.
And you can at least try experimental different stuff. But me personally, I think that the basic needs of society and its health is education, healthcare, including mental health, because I think physical and mental health are both important. That's in your brain, like the way you think. I don't understand why people don't think about that. So education, healthcare, what else? In housing are 3 fundamental things that we should really be working on, because we would have a much healthier society. We would have less criminal actions. Finland is one of the safest places in the world. I'm sure though, I mean, maybe the free income experiment didn't work. You know, I was just talking about that because Yang, it's an interesting idea, but I'd rather us pull our money and focus it into something specific that would actually not just help people today, but in the future as well. So that we can have people who are actually educated, because let's face it, a lot of Americans are so lost in knowing just about anything. Our education system is terrible. Would you add to seek justices to the Supreme Court to protect women's? I think we should just reset the whole entire Supreme Court. Let's just reset it.
And by the way, if in fact at the end of this, beginning next year, if in fact one of the justices.
Oh, Grade 1 Kid is back.
God forbid.
Let me see. Were you the one that went on my Instagram and sent me that picture that you should
did last time out? We would not allow any hearing to be held.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
I don't know. People have. Are you telling me that people anywhere have no intention of improving their lives?
That's right. When I proposed reforming the Supreme Court, some folks
They went
said that was
insane.
too bold to even contemplate.
I mean, maybe just that's the thing. I do question just giving out cash. Is like, what are you gonna spend it
I
on?
certainly will appoint people who share my values.
You give cash to anybody. Some people are gonna save it. Some people are gonna buy clothes. Some people might invest in it to their house. Some people might invest it to their kids. There's some people who are just gonna blow it on drugs and prostitutes. You know, it's a varied bucket. You never know what they're gonna do. USA is probably would go crazy if you just gave them cash. Let's just face it. And you know what? Part of that is like they would just go crazy in spending, and it's consumerism, and it would boost the economy, and all these businesses would have money.
Is that not everybody arrives on a partisan basis.
I don't think. Okay, so I mean that's your prediction. I don't think the U.S. is going to be split up, but at this point, I have no idea what the U.S. is going to happen.
To establishing a commission on a
Yeah, different economies, different governments. I mean, the U.S. You can't. Rob is right. You can't really compare the U.S. to Finland anyway. So you're not just talking about different economies and different governments. You're talking about different culture and different history. The U.S. is unique. We are a large experiment, and it's still pretty brand new. We don't have history like Finland and the rest of Europe has. We don't have it. We don't have the same culture. We have a mixed pot of cultures, and a lot of the things we did with bringing in immigrants as the basis of all that, because they needed a lot of people coming in. I mean, pretty much that's what the U.S. is all these people coming in from all different places has been what made the U.S. successful in the first place, because a lot of these people that came from different places worked really hard, built businesses. All these businesses that are profitable today, a lot of them are old, and they were built by someone who was either an immigrant or a child of an immigrant.
Senator Warren, would you consider adding more justices to the Supreme Court to protect Roe v. Wade? Your response?
I
I think there are a number of options. I think, as Mayor Buttigieg said, there are many
Okay, so Rob says that experiment in Finland didn't fail. It made them happier but left them jobless. Positive outcome overall. If AI takes over everything, a lot of people are going to be jobless, no matter what. And that's something that I don't hear them talking about, is what happens in a few years when all the trucking jobs are taken over because the trucks can drive themselves. What happens when you don't need Uber drivers or Lyft drivers because the cars, that's millions of jobs lost. A lot of jobs, including my own, writing for journalism, they have an AI system for that. They don't need to hire us anymore. I think hiring people is unique, but no matter what, once you have a system where it's machines and tech that are controlling everything and only a few people need to manage it, you're going to have a problem where a lot of people are jobless. And if a lot of people are jobless and they don't have money, those companies are going to go out of business because nobody is able to buy their products. So it's an issue that is coming where our whole entire way of life has been changing so rapidly because technology is working really fast. And I wonder why people aren't really thinking about this. Let's extract money from the AI takeover. I mean, if the companies that make a ton of money from all of these different things, and if you actually took the money from all the corrupt people all the corrupt billionaires and millionaires that have done illegal practices that our government has largely just kind of looked the other way from, yeah, that would be a lot of money, and we'd be able to pay for education. Imagine if the AI take over. Yes, automation. I agree that there's probably going to be a crash. I don't know if it's going to be 2021 or 2020 because it seems like it's coming really fast, right? But like when it comes down to it, could we have a world where people, like all these businesses are taxed? It goes to the people, and the people spend it to keep the businesses going, and then people focus on education and maybe arts or I think science and research would be great because then we could improve our technology, our sciences, our health. All of these things could improve so vastly if people were actually into that. And arts inspires a lot. So I don't think that that it's not like people couldn't be productive. They could get an education and they could find different ways of making money, or different ways of being productive and helping society. And I think we focus so much on the monetary value of everything, and we don't focus on productivity and what really helps and creates a healthy society overall. Does anybody actually look into the sociology and economics of things and the government system? All these things should be important. For us to not think that psychology of one person is important, but think about if somebody has a mental illness, right? If something is affecting them mentally, a lot of times it's because their environment and the people around them are affecting them. That's sociology. That's a problem with the environment as well. It's not really a problem with the person. We'll blame the person, but we won't look at all of society and its illness as a whole. And our society has a huge illness, and we should be trying to think about that problem right in itself.
Any other major country on earth? And the answer is, if we have the guts, and I would like to see the Democratic Party have that guts, to stand up to the drug companies and the insurance companies and tell them that the function of healthcare.
True. I mean, like this is our whole immigration system for the longest time. Who was it? Was it Bill Gates? Or Bill Gates was an immigrant, wasn't he? There's like a lot of billionaires today that are part of the tech industry. They were immigrants, and yet I think right now what happens is that people in government and everything, they're like, we're not going to dump a bunch of money into, we're not going to tax these people and dump a bunch of money here because these people are our friends. They're donating to us. So instead, we're going to only accept immigrants who have privilege and have education and stuff like that, and then we're going to you know, like all these people from South America coming in, they always migrated through here, and that's always going to happen. It's just like, you really think that people from Africa and from Syria and Pakistan and all these other countries aren't always going to be going up to Europe? That's been going on. That the original Europeans came from Africa.
The Republicans fought us, some of the Democrats fought us.
Like that's human nature. Why do we not think about human nature and how it is? What's up, Monica?
$12 billion directly to people they cheated. I served
I hope-
in the Obama administration. I know what we
I
can
hope
do.
it's not gone. I really hope that, you know, I believe that people want to survive. I believe in that deep down we have a need to survive, even as a group. We could be like Rome, it could be the end, and then we can move on. But I do believe in Americans enough to believe that eventually we're gonna get it together.
I convinced people to vote for it, so let's get those things straight too.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're poor health. But I think the rest of us should care, because we you know, it's. I feel like you have to feel the way you feel. You know, I can't even be mad at you for that. You know what I mean?
To every single person.
If I'm right, if they're right, you're gonna.
Pass it into law. But understand.
I can't believe this debate is going on. It's like 3 hours. The last one's 3 hours, huh?
But understand this. It was a dream big, fight hard. People told me
Walmart will be gone.
Go for something small.
I'm okay with that. I'm not big on Walmart.
Corporations will be able to accept.
I'm glad that you enjoy the talk.
Agency that will make structural change.
Well, you know, before Walmart, they shopped at little mom and pop shops, and Walmart destroyed that. Now Amazon's eating up Walmart, right? Target is good at being competitive.
Structural change.
Mayor Buttigieg, which is the right vision for a Democrat to beat Donald Trump? That's the essential question.
But $1 for every argument that I've witnessed like this, I could pay for college for everybody. We need to move past what has been consuming this whole political space for as long as I've been alive. We're being offered a false choice. I don't agree with the vice president that
College for everyone.
I don't agree.
There's some people that don't think that college could be for everyone, like it shouldn't be free even for the rich, but
normal didn't work. That's part of how we got
if we're taxing the rich, then aren't they essentially paying for their college and everybody else's? Why would we tax them twice to go to something they're already paying for? Kind of makes sense, actually, when I think about it.
Once again, I want to take you back to that day after Trump had stopped being president. Think about what
You think Jeff Bezos is buying anybody? Jeff Bezos is holding on to his money. He's not buying anything. Jeff Bezos is thinking about Jeff Bezos. I mean, I'm sure he has like some of his philanthropy work. You know what philanthropy work is for rich people, right? It's PR campaigns. I'll give a little bit of money here. I have billions and billions, but let me give $1 million total, and that sounds like a huge number, and it's going to be here and here and here, and now my image is going to be great, and I won't have to pay a ton of taxes. It's great. Everybody will worship me. Philanthropy work.
The heartland is where I live, and I want to win.
You know what? I agree. I hope things don't get violent. I'm a little worried about this whole civil war thing that has been Trump and all his people have been trying to push. But I have met a lot of those people, and they're actually, a lot of them are cowards. So I'm not really sure. But I am worried about all these people with guns who want a civil war. But when they see how real it is, when they get to the inner city streets with people who have been in almost a warlike environment, they do get scared. And trust me, from somebody who has dealt with it in Oakland.
Because I think we need to build a blue Democratic wall around those states and make Donald Trump pay for it.
Senator Warren, she referenced you, so you can respond.
You think Bezos wants to own everybody? I don't know if he's worried about owning everybody. Bezos Bezos doesn't want to own everybody. Bezos wants factories that are all AI. He wants something that has absolutely no humans in it except for a few that are monitoring it, because that's literally what's going on in Amazon right now.
Are already in these fights is not someone who's likely to win them.
Yeah, he did no, but that's the thing about you know. I know, Rob, you think that this sounds crazy, but Bezos is using the usual corporate model, the usual capital corporate model of, you know, constantly making more money. It's like nothing is going to be enough for him. He is going to buy everything. I'm amazed that Amazon also owns Whole Foods. It's like to a point where there is no way I could boycott Jeff Bezos, because he is owning everything. He is to. As a matter of fact, Amazon, Jeff Bezos is selling AI monitoring intelligence to scan people's faces, right? To the military, trying to sell it to military, right? I believe that's right. But a lot of people think going into cars and pharmacy is good, and I think it's interesting that they are still investing in cars, because we should, as many people as we have, and as congested as the streets are, and as much as people don't want to pay taxes to take care of the roads, we should be dealing with public transportation, especially when we're talking about the environment, but we're still talking about investing in cars. Cars that will drive themselves.
In the country to see a mental health care provider at the VA.
What's the fun of a car if it drives for you?
Exciting that was to
I only drive because I want to drive the way I want to drive. Otherwise I do public transportation. It's not fun. I'm not trying to be in a slow car that I'm just sitting there like with nobody in there, nobody even to talk to. Sounds boring.
To do that, we took what we learned and we applied it to a national law as a member of the minority working with
Wall Street Journal resource. You read some deep stuff.
Access for veterans national. And then in Texas,
I like to read The Economist too. I have the New Yorker. I haven't been reading that. But the military would go AI. China, the direction China went with AI, monitoring, surveillance of its citizens. Don't be surprised if every country tries to do that. Almost every country will. In America, we should be against it because we're supposed to be for our freedom. But even if you do that, I think it's crazy to think that you can monitor like millions of people, let alone billions, right? That's really difficult. Yeah, I know. There should be public transportation everywhere. But you know why we don't have public transportation everywhere? Because the car companies a long time ago convinced our government to invest in freeways so that they could sell cars and tires and car parts and have a whole entire industry. There wouldn't be an industry, an automotive industry, if we had public transportation. If we had good public transportation, it wouldn't be the same. It never would have been the same. So that's why we don't have it, because it's really based on making sure that somebody can profit. Financial Times good. What about free the nipple?